like they say, revolution is not a one-day event. Huh? Even the Arab Spring was not a one-day event. We really need to be very serious about our country. Our country is under hostage, a hostage of impunity. Na tusipokuwa serious, you saw the vetting. Huh? People with billions are still looking for jobs. Huh? Watu unashindwa watu wanatafuta kazi tena ya nini? Mtu akona bilioni, mtu akona mamilioni na anatafuta kazi. So if we are not going to be angry enough, even if they are saying we are inciting, you need to incite Kenyans. Because if you are not going to take back our country from these politicians, then we don't have a country. They've already stolen our future. They're now stealing the future of our kids and our kids and even our grandkids. Sasa tukikaa tu tuseme tu it is corruption is the order of the day, impunity is the order of the day, that we cannot correct the issues of governance and accountability, then we've left the country to the dogs. I really want to emphasize this. Kuna watu walikuwa wanasema no, we have an alternative. We look for alternatives ya engage this government. This government cannot be engaged. There is nothing at the table at the moment. The movement was hijacked by Raila. We were almost there, but William Ruto decided to give part of his government to Raila, not because of any other thing. It is because Raila assured him that he is going to help him manage and stop the maandamanos. The maandamanos that we were calling for good governance and good governance and accountability. Sasa, sisi wenye tuko hapa, if we will not do it, don't expect that our kids will do it. These people are busy giving their kids tenders in government. These people are doing business with government. They are seated in. Wao unashindwa mtu anakuja vetting, akikuwa vetting akianza kama CS alisema he's worth this. Akikuja unashindwa hii ni biashara gani? What kind of business are these people doing? What kind of business are these people doing? And most of them you can see, they're not people who have gone to see watu ati wamesoma kama nyinyi. Sahi hata in fact education is not a measure of success in Kenya nowadays. If we are going to continue rewarding and accepting to reward impunity, and we accept it's a way of life, even our children huku chini watakubali na waseme hakuna haja ya kusoma. If somebody can appear there and proudly say that mimi nilifanya hivi and hivi, but nilikuja nika correct huku mbele nikafanya hivi. I'm not downplaying whatever Joho said, but that is not the way to go. We cannot continue rewarding impunity. And that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ras. Asante sana. And I'm happy because some people are saying, mbona tuna discuss vetting, yet we hatutaki hiyo government. But you see, they went ahead to actually just give the people, more reasons as to why actually they should just go, because that is not what the people wanted. So it's good that people are also chiming in on that aspect. Kagota, I see your hands are up. Kindly proceed. Kagota, unanisikiza?
Yes, nakupata vizuri.
Sawa, endelea.
Thank you for the opportunity once again to speak on these issues under the People's Revolutionary Forum. Now, we are seeing what is happening currently in the Republic, where the CSs, those ones who are called the nominees, are being vetted. It is very clear that it is an extension of corruption, which is happening even at the chambers where they are being vetted. Because if somebody has been listed as EACC and implicated in a situation where his integrity is in question, then the same person appears before a committee, and what the committee does is just to sanitize whatever he's saying. Then that committee is to me, it's an illegal committee whereby it is sanitizing corruption against the dictates of the Constitution. That is Chapter 6. So we have to come up and defend the Constitution by calling out such impunity from those who are vetting them. And when the outcome of the vetting shall be out, and we see people like Oparanya as CSs, then we'll have that committee, the whole committee on vetting in question. Number two, we are seeing we are going to have a government, in other words, a cabinet full of the rich. The rich. In other words, we are going to see political elites in this forthcoming cabinet. Then the question raises: where are the hustlers whom the president was really advocating for? Where are we seeing Mama Mbogas in this kind of government? Or where are we seeing the Gen Zs who are very keen or who are very concerned about the affairs of the state? Where are we seeing those youth who fought to ensure that William Ruto dismissed his cabinet? So there are a number of questions that are coming up when we have to talk about what is happening in regards to the vetting. Number three, you see the people who are in the committee are just rubber stamping nonsense, because when an individual has to be asked questions, and you as a speaker, for example, or you as a chair of the vetting committee, you have to defend him or her, then that makes it that makes it hard for us people who want to oversight whatever the decisions will come out from the vetting committee. So there are many questions that are being raised in regards to what is happening at the county hall, and we have to call out impunity where impunity is. Just like how Miguna normally says, when it is if it quacks like a duck, it is a duck. If somebody has been implicated, all have access to public power or have access to any leadership position. So a number of CSS, looking at their integrity, some of them have not been mentioned, but you can clearly see that even from the way they are debating in the chambers, even from the way they are talking, even from the way they are presenting their ideas, you can actually see the element of corruption, the element of kleptocracy in whatever they are saying. So we need to be very sensitive. We need to come up and call them out, because if we don't call them out, we will not have a nation tomorrow. We will not have a country to speak for. So we must speak these issues now. We must be able to say that this is wrong, this should be done, this is not right. So based on the vetting, I think as a country, if these are the people we are going to have in positions of power, then we are doomed as a country. We must call them out. We must call them, call whatever they are doing out, because some of the issues the citizens have raised to the memoranda, they have not been substantially responded to. What you are just saying is a speaker or the chair rubber stamping the misdeeds they have been doing. So we must call them out. And if we don't, then we will not have a country to defend in the near future. We'll have a country where we are jobless. We'll have a country where kleptocracy is the order of the day. We'll have a country where impunity is the order of the day. No, you saw the other day, Kindiki, how he responded to how people were killed. And you could actually tell that the chair is understanding what he's saying, just because the people have already been guaranteed the cabinet positions. So as a people, as a country, we must be very vigilant. In other words, if we don't remain, or if we don't talk about the issues, then we not have a country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to give some guidance. Wasanal, please mute your mic. Thank you. And so, okay, he's not yet. Let me mute his mic. So we're going to have speakers speak for 3 minutes each. So after 2 minutes, I will raise my hand. Then look at my profile, then you have 1 more minute to go. So try to structure your speech in a way that you can deliver it in 3 minutes time. On the panel, if you're a Gen Z on the panel, please raise your hand so that we want to prioritize the Gen Zs here. If you're a Gen Z, raise up your hand so that we can give you the mic first. Alice, yes, go on, Hillary.
Remind them to follow each other. Okay, let us be connected all the time as we going along. Yes, Alicia, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Alicia. I am a Gen Z. I just watched this vetting process, and I've actually been shocked that one of the nominees had a D minus. Now, I'm not saying that we should just consider education as a measure of your ability, but we cannot just underestimate its importance, right? An educated mind is better equipped to tackle complex problems, think critically, and lead effectively. Now, if we put someone who has a D minus as a cabinet secretary, I think we're just settling for mediocrity at this point. And also no, I mean, there are so many people who are more educated than this man and more equipped. I'm sorry that even I, with my bare minimum education, I feel like I can do better than this guy. So it should be that we're settling for excellence, because there are so many educated people here who are jobless. And another thing I wanted to say is that I'm not sure how this whole vetting process works, but I don't know whether they can bring up people like for something like a baraza so that people can talk, because it seems like they're not asking the questions that the people want to be asked, like the motivation behind you wanting that job. Like, okay, fine, you have so much money, a lot of money. What is your motivation behind wanting to get this job? Because that's a question that I've not seen people being asked. When you apply for college, when you want a job, they usually just ask you straight up, why do you want this position? We have not had that question being answered in a way that is clear to the people what the agenda is. So I really want to tell you guys, even when you go to Maandamano, please don't forget to be asking these questions. Like, we shouldn't just settle for the bare minimum. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Alicia. John Odhiambo, please mute your mic. You will speak when you've been given a chance, because you keep on interrupting other speakers. You, Alicia.
That was my rant. Thank you so much for letting me talk.
Thank you so much, Alicia, for chiming in. We have Sam and then Abaya in that order. Sam, go on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I want to say this. Thank you for the first thing. Our unity is the most important part of it. Kwa sababu bila unity hakuna mahali tutaenda. Our voices are our weapons. So, kitu ya kwanza lazima unite na tukue na sauti moja. Because at the end of the day, our enemy is watching us. Kuna spies, there are some spies who are spying on us. Let us unite. It will be something stupid kuona tumepingana hivyo na mwisho wa siku wenye wamekufa tu in vain. Itakuwa inauma sana. Mimi kivyangu naona tuweke mikakati zaidi ya penye tutapambana na huyu mtu hiyo date 8 mwezi wa 8. Sababu this person does not mean well with the country. Anatudranga kila siku anatuweka kwa Ruto is just like a terrorist. Please, let's unite. Let's sound the voice of togetherness. Kama kuna mtu anaongopa, tuache uoga, tupambane, tupigane. Na mimi naamini Mwenyezi Mungu atatushikilia na tutakuwa pamoja. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Na usalamie mtoi, nimesikia background amechokozwa. Si nani anachokoza brigadier.
Audio
Brigadier. Generation Alpha.
Hao ndio majensis, wangetupatia majensis waongee.
Petro tusalamie kidogo atuchangamshe. Okay, asante sana Sam. Abaya?
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Abaya.
Probably Hillary can hear him, so he can, or Kingsman, so he can just continue. Kingsman and Hillary,
can you hear me?
him?
Yeah, I can hear Abaya. I can hear Abaya, right? Abaya, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Personally, I'm a Gen Z. I'm 24 years, and First of all, it's so good to see Dr. Miguna Miguna here. And I had a message for him. I think for long he's been talking, and we thought maybe he was lying. But at the end of the day, he has been vindicated. He's been calling Raila Odinga a con, and personally, I was a radical supporter of Raila Odinga. And that is the reason why maybe Dr. Miguna Miguna blocked me. But I think you don't need to block me anymore because we're on the same side. Coming on the on today's story, there's an information I saw on. Hello.
Okay, go on.
So I saw somewhere whereby they're saying that 247 bodies have been unidentified bodies have been discovered in city mortuary. I don't know the information. I don't know the kind of information that the government wants to put across. Are they trying to sell fear to us, or the Githurai massacre was real? I don't know. What is your take on that matter, guys? I don't know. I've seen a couple of times whereby NTV has tried every time they try to put up the story of the coup that happened in 1992, and if you read the article very well, you will get to understand their motive. Maybe they're trying to sell fear to us, or something. I don't really understand. They've posted Ochuka for like since the beginning of this protest. I think they've posted Ochuka for around 10 times, if I'm not wrong. You can check on the Twitter handle of NTV. I don't know the kind of information they're trying to put across. I don't really understand. So I want you guys to tell us: is it the 247 bodies that were found in city mortuary? Is it a true story, or it is something fake that the government wants to sell fear to us? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abaya, for your questions. I know we're taking notes, and we're gonna ask ourselves what is happening in City Mashari. Abaya is done.
Yeah, thank you.
Who's coming?
So let's go by Chris and then Coco, please. Okay, I'm going to remove Coco straight away because this is the second time he's disrupting in a different space. So please, if you open your mic again, I'm going to have to remove you. We had to remove the other speaker because we want them, and they continued. We want to really have our space that's orderly. And if anybody else comes later to also listen, it's easier to listen when there's not so many interruptions. So for those who've never been to a space, once you get on, the first thing you need to do is to mute your mic. So that's a thing that looks like a speaker. You just need to, click on it and ensure that it's muted. You'll see like a red, a red cross around that, and that is muted. If it's purple, then you're being heard there and it's disrupting, just as an explanation. Thanks for understanding. So let's go by Chris and then Omino.
So mine is I'm saying like in Kenya it seems like two things are rigged. Number one, the politics is rigged, the economy is rigged, even from the way the CSs are being appointed and the way they are being vetted. So I believe the only medicine we have in Kenya is to go by the prescription of Dr. Miguna Miguna, which he said, let's drain the swamp. And by draining the swamp, we remove even the fish that is stuck in the swampy areas. So one question to Dr. Miguna Miguna, when are you coming so that we can swear in the people's Gen Z president? I'm done.
Thank you so much, Chris. Dr. will take on your question when he chimes in. Now we go to Omino. And thanks, Chris, for keeping the time. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much, and the host, and of course, having Miguna Miguna is also a pleasure here. I know he has always been so radical when it comes to a number of things that he wants to see well aligned in this country. Africans, I think, we're really having a long struggle, and it's so real. It's really a disappointment that, as a people, I was named after one position by the name Jabo Mino back in the days. And sometimes I even wish to even refuse that name because looking at the political environment and the space that we have, it's have a very negative exposure because everyone who steps into that position seems to join a kind of a cult. One, you stop reasoning, your brain stop functioning normally, you stop being sensitive to the demands from the people, the things that you're supposed to do as service delivery, they become like none of your business. And I think this is why we are really struggling. And as a people, we must really push this change. And that is why Nane Nane should remain alive and active as is. So the disappointment is quite a bad one because I think looking at the conversation that we've had even this week about the vetting, I don't even know why we have those vettings taking place in the first place. People should just be doing those jobs because we understand that even if they are vetted, there is nobody who is going to be told that they don't qualify for those positions. In short, it's a waste of our money. If they are having any kind of allowance for that setting, it's a waste of our resources. And again, the kind of questions they're asking are very bogus. If somebody was in another position back there, being a political position, or maybe was a CS before, there's nobody who even tries to ask about that credibility in terms of the achievements and successes because the questions being asked and the questions they answer are different. And this is what I think you see with the William Ruto. Never answering any question. The same thing you see with the police, never to the point on what's happening. So, for how long are you going to keep this struggle of not being able to enjoy our own country? Like we're paying taxes like I don't know, dogs eating from whatever places where you throw from the dustbins, and then you're the same dog who is making your master clean. You make your master drive very expensive cars, live in posh estates, and you are suffering. So, for how long are you going to have this? Because the development of the country is based on how people are supposed to enjoy from the taxes they pay. But if you cannot enjoy that, I think people are still having a long way to go. And I still urge everyone also to be okay. We need to fight for our country, we need our country back. And Dr. Miguna, if you are really going to help us walk this journey, we need people who are strong. In fact, I always like somebody like Okera Umtata. He has always had very positive things, as much as those politician might have his negative side. But you can see he's always fighting for the common humanity. So we need the people who are going to work with us that journey. And please, let's take note. As Gen Z and all the people who are fighting this battle, remember, we must also have somebody in place to help us walk this journey who must significantly stand as a leader. And that person should not be either to waste us, but to walk along with us. Otherwise, let's keep the spirits high. This journey is on. We are still fighting the fight. It is not over until it is over. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Thanks, Omino. And so now we see more people coming to the mic. We will then reduce the time to 2 minutes each, just so that not a lot of people leave without speaking. And I would like to also encourage ladies to request the mic. And that having been said, we go to Chica Freak. 2 minutes, please.
Chica Freak, can you emerge? She drops, I think.
Okay, go on.
I can't hear. It seems she has a problem with her mic.
Yeah, she wasn't speaking. Kings, do you want to chime in before?
Hillary, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear Kingsman. Can you emerge?
Can you hear me, Kingsman?
No, I can't hear much.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
All right. One of you must drop that back.
Who was next in line? I think we can. Please, if you want to speak, raise up your hand, and then we can take 4 or 5, and Dr. can respond maybe to some of the questions that have been asked by. So we start with the Galaxy Dan. It is in Galaxy, yeah. In Galaxy Dan. Yeah. Galaxy, go.
Okay, thank you for the mic. I just have one question to Daktari. On 8th, that's Nane Nane, we have you all know that we are going to the CBD and we are moving to State House. So my question is, I want Daktari to help us how we will deal with the goons during that day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jen Karaoke.
Hello.
Yeah, go
Thank
ahead.
you, Hillary, for the opportunity. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Chick Africa, Goja, wait, Jen Karaoke, then you come in. Okay, Karaoke, go ahead.
Thank you. Can I speak? I had a hard time wondering whether I should watch the vetting of the CSs, and I finally decided not to watch because this is not what we bargained for. This is not what we were promised. When the president dismissed the cabinet, he promised a broad-based cabinet. He promised to consult widely. And by dismissing them, he promised that they would not be coming back, that we would have a new cabinet. So seeing same people being returned and the new ones coming on board through very dubious means, like the deal with Raila, and yet this was not supposed, Gen Zs did not die so that Raila and his men can be rewarded. You look at some like Migosi, a deputy to the, he was deputy governor candidate to the former CS. You wonder what kind of nomination process is this? What is the criteria? So I still look forward to a time that we will have people in cabinet and in other positions based on qualifications, based on character, where everybody has a chance. Sometimes I hear people saying, but Buddy is very qualified and another person is very qualified. But I look forward to a point where even cabinet positions, they can be on meritocracy. When somebody is being given a chance, they are the best of the best. And how can we get that? Make the opportunity available to everyone. Advertise the positions, let people apply, let them send their CVs, let us look at their character, let us look at the track record, and we take the best of the best. So for me, it is not yet Uhuru, and I look forward to that time when we will have a leadership that truly listens and that truly cares about Kenya more than friendships and personal interest. So
Right.
let us keep the fight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Chief Afrik, then Dr. Miguna Miguna, you can come in now. I think
Good evening.
thank you so much.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, can you
Go ahead. Yeah, can hear you very well.
Thank you very much, and welcome everybody for in the platform so that we can discuss this important issue that is affecting all of us. So my take today is, having listened to some of the nominees who have been vetted by Parliament, something very, very critical came to mind. None of these nominees have spoken about the issue that is facing the country. You know, why the Gen Zs actually went on the streets, and what they're going to do within their ministries to create opportunities, to create good governance, to address the issues that Gen Zs were raising before the president, you know, fired the previous CEO. Even the ones who have been, you know, reappointed or renominated, they didn't come up clearly to say, you know, these are the issues I would assume the president, you know, fired me for, and if I'm given another opportunity, this is how I'm going to do things differently. So, in my view, this whole process is very, very undeserving for Kenyans. So we should continue saying no. We should continue pushing for good governance. We should continue pushing for, you know, good leadership. And what we have seen in the last few days doesn't give any hope. And then one other thing is the wealth that has been, you know, displayed by these nominees. They own, you know, billions and some hundreds of millions. And looking at that, I can see that they are, you know, they're big, you know, they have a big financial chest, for the next general election. And I can see why Ruto will bring some of these people who have huge, you know, wealth into his cabinet. It's because he's now preparing for the next general election, and he knows these people being on his side, they'll be able to gather some financial, you know, muscle to move these. But Gen Z's issues are not on the table. The government has actually decided you don't matter anymore. We are going to regroup. We are going to run the show the way we like it. And we don't care whether, you're jobless or not. If you really want a job, you can ship out of the country and go to the Arab nation and become a driver there or become a, house help there. Because here, this is our show. We run the show. We employ our own. We employ our, our relatives, our friends. We take tenders in government. We create this wealth. And that is what they're showing us. So Gen Z should, go on the streets on the 8th of August and tell the government we are not happy and we are not going to back down until you hear us. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you for that submission. Dr. Harry, so if you can come in and maybe before we give other ladies, I can see some ladies on the platform, then we'll pick it from there.
Thank you, Hillary. I thank everybody else. It's been quite insightful. The comments and the questions, the contributions. I wish to express my condolences to the families that have lost loved ones and the families of the yet to be identified 250 bodies that are at the city mortuary, all of whom are associated with the protest of June the 25th or thereabouts. And I wish to express my anger and my condemnation at the non-responsiveness and unaccountability of the Ruto regime and their collaborators in ODM and other collaborators that have come along to fortify the brutal regime. Having said that, there are a lot of statements and questions that have been raised that I would want to address. And Hillary, when you get a time, I can see NATO in the body of the team. Probably you could pull him up. The first thing, and I think this one is being glossed over consistently by Kenyans, and I want to nail it in all the time because I think it is important to ground the discussion on what the fundamental problem is. The fundamental problem is the state. The country Kenya was an arbitrary boundary and state carved out by the colonial imperial powers in Berlin in 1884-1885 at the Berlin Conference. It was not organically created by Africans. So we have an alien state that was carved out arbitrarily for purposes of extracting our raw materials and exploiting our labor. It was not done for our benefit. The mechanisms of extraction of our raw materials and labor was oppressive. It was not pro us. It was not done for us. It was not done humanely. Now, after the so-called flag independence in 1963, the mascots that were conscripted to continue running this colonial edifice called Kenya were supposed to continue the project of extraction, the project of oppression, the project of exploitation. So we must anchor our discussion on that. This is the struggle we've been involved in. Unfortunately, the struggle has only related and mutated into years of painting. We've had so-called reforms. These are like applying deodorant on a skunk. We've not dealt with the foundations of the state. that was not meant to serve us. We've been running around this edifice in circles of protests without addressing the problem. So when the state props up one of the mascots, the black mascots, whether it was Kenyatta, whether it was Moi, whether it was Kibaki, whether it was Uhuru Kenyatta, and now Ruto, the mascot obeys the orders of the imperial powers, not our needs, not our cries, not our demands, because that's the people that put him in power. So the loyalty is outside, first and foremost. We have to understand that. Ruto cares more about what Washington or Paris or London or Berlin says more than they care about what we say in our villages and towns. They don't care if one white person was murdered by the police on June 25th, whether a journalist, even a homeless white person, if one white person, even a Kenyan white, if one white person, even a homeless white person, was killed on the streets on June 25th, I can assure you that Washington would have immediately passed a resolution to get Ruto out. That's how much they care about white lives as opposed to black lives. The US Embassy, all the Western embassies would have passed and issued travel bans on this regime immediately. That's what they have done consistently. When Leakey was assaulted in Nairobi by Moi, the whole Western hemisphere came down on Moi like a ton of bricks. And immediately thereafter, Moi formed a cabinet and appointed people that they called the dream team of Leakeys and the rest, and engaged in constitutional reforms that led to the repeal of Section 2A. So the point is, our lives don't matter until we make it matter by addressing this alien colonial state. That is why the revolution has to overhaul the state, reconstruct it, transform it, and have a state with the laws and constitution and mores, values that respect and value us, that give us dignity as Africans. So that's point number one. This point should never be lost, because a lot of people that have been commenting on what is happening are addressing reforms, the same deodorant on the skunk that will again put us in 100 years of us going around this edifice, dancing like primitive Africans, the way the white people intended it to be. So let's address the problem once and for all. Then we will have justice for all the people that have been victimized since independence, starting with Pio Pinto Gama in 1964 by Jomo Kenyatta, all the way to Rex and the identified bodies that are still at the morgue, and the ones that I said were incinerated by this criminal regime. That's my point number one. I want to emphasize it. Now, point number two, our country has been taken hostage by these mascots. These colonial mascots have instituted criminal systems where they belong to secret societies. That is how come they pop up with names like Joho, a man not qualified even to run my garden. A man that unqualified. And when I say that, it's not just because of grade D minus, which is also important, because we can't have an education system that is based on competition, that is based on national exams, which are competitive, that are based on eulogizing those who get A's, then we employ the ones who have failed. You can't explain that to a child going to school. You can't explain that to the universities that are churning out graduates every day. You can't explain that to anyone who is interested in knowledge, in learning, in experience, in innovation. You can't explain that. This man, Joe Ho, does not just represent D minus. He represents a very critical, important point. He has no capacity to conceptualize public policy. Now, if you cannot conceptualize public policy, meaning you can't come up with ideas to address the critical, intractable problems of a country, then you can't deliver. You don't have the software with which to deliver good governance, development, prosperity, job creation, supply of services to the people or delivery of services to the people, so that we can see a lifestyle that is progressing from where we were a few years ago or decades ago to where the world is going, the information age. Now, I will get to the point of vetting, which is really nonsense considering what I have just said. Because if these are mascots that are not going to serve us, because it is by design from the colonial government, and then these mascots are serving a secret system designed to hijack and keep hostage the state, then it doesn't matter who they appoint. It doesn't matter how qualified these people are. Because at the end of it, these people, as I said, cannot conceptualize public policy for purposes of delivering services. And they also don't have integrity, which is the software without which a human being is just a wild animal. If you do not have integrity, you will never be able to deliver good governance and services to the people. Now to the so-called vetting. What is happening in the National Assembly? A National Assembly that lacked and was denied its legitimacy by the Gen Zs on June 25th, is that it is not vetting, because vetting means scrutinizing information about the person and the person's character and the person's record, the person's history, the person's contributions or lack thereof, for purposes of determining suitability for a particular office. Is that happening? Nobody is scrutinizing anything. Somebody just comes and says, I go D minus. Nobody is even asking, can we see it? Somebody is saying, I have 2 degrees. Can we see the degrees? Which universities? When did you attend? Do you have any classmates? Is this degree even legitimate? Somebody is saying, oh, I have 10 companies. This is their net worth. They don't ask for the tax returns. They don't scrutinize the tax returns. They don't scrutinize assets reports, or they don't even ask for the assets reports. There are no audited reports of this person's corporate performance, or even their own tax reports. How much did they pay for taxes last year, for example? If you're saying you're worth 2.5 billion, how many hundreds of millions did you pay in tax? They don't ask that. And if you didn't pay tax, if you didn't pay tax hundreds of millions, then how do we know you are actually worth this? All I know, they are actually worth much more. Because if you go through the auditor's report, the auditor general, they should have started there. Joe was indicted every single year for the 10 years that he was governor, for example. Oparanya was indicted every single year for the 10 years he was governor in Kakamega, for example. And it was found that they stole all the money and left zero for development in their respective counties. Joe, and I can say this to his face, is a known bad drug dealer. that should never occupy any public office and should be in jail for life anywhere in the world. They don't ask these questions, which then leads me to the next issue. And I'm sorry, I am taking a little bit of time. The next issue is this. If the system is rigged, the system is by design not meant to serve us. And we have seen how these people have come together quickly to undermine what the Gen Zs tried to do on June 25th and thereabouts and after that. Why do you keep talking? Because what we should have been doing is being on the street every single day until they fall. And they would fall very quickly because it has happened. It has happened throughout history. It happened in Burkina Faso more recently when Comparative was chased out of town. It happened in the Philippines recently. It happened in Sri Lanka very recently. It happened in Ukraine very recently. It has happened in all over the world. It happened in Zimbabwe very recently when Mugabe was chased out after being in power for over 30 years. It happened in Sudan. Let them not sell us fear that when it happens, oh, the military will take over, oh, this guy will take over. They are worse than the military, for all that I know. Any country that keeps 75% of its most brilliant, the youngest, the most educated, the most innovative and creative, the ones with most energy that can produce, unemployed, and are saying the only thing they can do is get a handful of driving or maids, gardening kind of jobs in Saudi Arabia, are criminals that should not be able to speak. I would have been very happy if we were chasing them around and chasing them away from churches and every place that they go, like we were doing around June 25th. Because if we did that and continued doing that, even without coming to Nairobi, if Ruto today was chased out of Narok or wherever place he went, if yesterday Sudi was chased around in town and everywhere he went, if all these politicians that are going for choreographed coronation in parliament called vetting were being chased around in town, even before Nane Nane, these people will pay attention and Ruto will go tomorrow. So I think we have to up our game. And we have to up our game by being angry. Because nobody is going to tell you that you're going to cause chaos when we have chaos already. 75% of people being unemployed, that's worse than chaos. That's criminal chaos. When they are telling you that, oh, these people are inciting you, yes, you need to be incited. You need to be agitated. Because honestly, what are we waiting for? They're telling you, oh, Miguna is not Gen Z, so you should not be speaking. I'm a citizen. I'm a human being. I'm seeing the injustice. It doesn't have to affect me the same way it affects the unemployed for me to be angry. I have Gen Z children. My children will have children. And regardless, a human being must be able to feel for the less able around him or her. That is what civilization is all about. So if I only care about myself and do not care about others because of my station in life, then I'm an animal. Then there is no difference between me and them. Then I should not be criticizing them. Then I should not be talking about injustice. Then I should not be saying I want social justice. Then I should not be saying, oh, I've been fighting throughout my life for what is good for the country. So the challenge is on us. We have to stop asking silly questions. Silly questions about, oh, are you going to be there? Blah, blah, as if you are taking some kind of roll call for who is showing up. We don't care. We want everybody to show up. We are not taking roll call. It is a responsibility we have. And we have to remember that inspiration for good things happen regardless of time, regardless of place, regardless of location. After all, many of you consider yourselves Christian. Have you met Jesus Christ? Were you with him? But you are inspired because of what you've read about what his life looked like. And you know that he fought for something he never enjoyed because at the end of the day, he was hanged. Just the same way I think if they met me today, they would want to hang me. I don't care. I don't vibe fear. They have done worse to me that they would ever do to a lot of you guys. But I've not stopped. Because the easiest thing to do is what Joe Oparanya and the rest are doing. Go, kneel down, bow, be loyal, don't say anything, and just focus on looting. You will be a good boy and a girl. All they require, the level of intelligence these people require for you to become a billionaire, is just to stop complaining and be a loyal boy and girl. And they will give you billions. And as long as you don't care about what is happening to your fellow citizens, you will continue to be rich and you'll be a member of the club. Now, that is what they call intelligence. I call that barbarism. I call that primitivity. I call that a system that we must change now, not tomorrow. So I will come back, but probably before I do, I want to give you some figures because we have to ground this debate on concrete evidence. Let's compare Kenya to Namibia. Namibia is a semi or completely arid African state in Southern Africa. Namibia got its independence from brutal German, Dutch, and South African colonialism in 1990. 1990. By that time, Kenya had been independent for a very long time. Kenya got her flag independence in 1963. Namibia is only 2.567 million people. Kenya, by today, is about 56 million people. But notwithstanding the long history of armed struggle, notwithstanding the fact that Namibia is completely arid, notwithstanding the fact that Namibia only got her independence in 1990, the GDP per capita income of Namibia now in 2024, August, is $5,003 USD. $5,003 USD per month. No, per capita. What is the per capita GDP per capita income in Kenya? 4,975. Which means Namibia, a completely arid country that just got independence the other day, has more GDP per capita than Kenya. In Namibia, the healthcare system is provided universally to everyone. 83% of Namibians are catered for 100% by the government and only 17% private. In Kenya, there is no universal health care. In Namibia today, the public debt is only 153,825 Namibian dollars, which is less than that in US dollars. In Kenya, the public debt is 31.19 billion US and about 4 trillion Kenya shillings. That's even an understatement. The corruption index in Namibia, as of today, according to Transparency International, Namibia is number 59 out of 180. Kenya, this year, is number 126 out of 180, which means that there is corruption in Namibia, but Namibia is much better than Kenya, more than 100%. Now, so these are the figures, which means that All you need, nobody needs, I was not going to give you the examples of the US or Canada or Norway or Sweden or Switzerland or France or the UK, because you will tell me those are not African countries. And I was not going to give you the example of Somalia, because you will say there is civil war in Somalia. I'm not giving you the example of the most developed country in Africa, because you will say, oh, we will get there. I'm giving you one of the youngest countries in Africa with less resources than Kenya, that does not have arable land like Kenya, does not have the weather that Kenya has, does not have our history, and still doing much better than us. This is the challenge. This is the challenge we must confront for Nane Nane. Because if we don't do it, clearly we have no chance of getting to a stage where we will be able to live. In fact, we will be bankrupt, we will be recolonized, and we can even be extinct. Because there is no reason why we will continue living. This is the challenge. I thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. for that wonderful giving the history and also giving the points that we need to act on upon, and we focus on Nane Nane and what is happening. Right.
Hillary?
Yes, I can hear you, Kingsman. Can you hear me? Maj, can you hear me? Okay.
I can
Kingsman,
hear
you
you.
can't
I
hear.
can hear you. I can hear you, Hillary. Yeah.
All right. All right, thank you so much. I think Kingsman has a problem. Kingsman, check your mic. So, guys, again, we are back to 2 minutes because so many people are requesting a mic. And when you're in a mic, make sure that your mic is okay. When he call you 1-2 times, if you're not opening your mic, then we're gonna drop you. And we're sorry about Tomboy. Tomboy, go ahead. Then Josephine, then Anna, going that way.
Thank you, Hillary. Thank you much. I greet all Kenyans. I'm glad to be here. Always speaking after the five-star general has spoken is always difficult because he speaks to action. And my point is that I cannot take any word from him. So I just want to back up whatever he has said, just to put it clear for Kenyans to understand the need to be very much focused. Starting to talk about the issue of vetting is just like playing into the hands of the oppressor. They brought that card as a way of fighting back to defeat us. When we discuss that, we are giving them more strength. There is no way you can say that cleaning a putrid mango will make it nutritious and delicious. We cannot say that we cannot say that when someone steals from you and they steal a hen from you, then they go and cook the hen, then you are the same person that is being asked, what do you think about the flavor? How delicious is the stew? Then it's like you are wasting a time with a thief who should have killed anyway. So I believe discussing anything to do with vetting is just a waste of time and it is not necessary. I'm reminding us that we are dealing with a rogue government and Kenya has been made such that for you to be successful, you must happen to exist within these specific three C's. One, you must be a cult, you must be corrupt, or you must be a cartel. That is when you can succeed, and largely in the urban centers where we find ourselves. I'm also informing us that we've done a lot speaking to the scientific context of a revolution, whereby we've shared a lot of sense, which mostly always fails when we want to have a revolution. I'm reminding Kenyans that let us also try to exercise other spheres of the revolution, which is political and religious revolution. Let us start devising tactics that we are going to counter them politically. Let us devise tactics that we are going to counter them religiously. Because in the political and religious revolution, the context of belief plays the biggest role, and convincing majority to turn against them will be very easy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Boya. I want to remind our people that follow co-host, follow each other, follow our speakers, and everybody who is there. So thank you so much. I think we need can you hear me? Yep. If Honorable Neto, you're there, we send a mic. Mukwasi, I see you. Welcome on board. And if you can have a mic, come on board. Thank you so much. And whoever we have several requests, so we keep it 2 minutes. The 3rd minutes, then you're done. If you'll be landing, we'll appreciate. Josephine, go ahead.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Very well.
Thank you, Irari, and I will request that at least I would want to respond to something that Dr. Miguna has just said. So allow me at least an extra minute. If I have to go for more than 2 minutes, kindly allow me. Good evening, everyone, fellow Kenyans, wherever you are. My name is Josephine Ndinda from Mombasa County. Yeah, and I want to start first on trying to put something maybe with all humility. Dr. Miguna, allow me to put it clear. Maybe you've just decided and you have overlooked a particular area. One thing I want to say is that when it comes to issues of qualifications, especially when we talk about D minors, personally, I am a career passionate person and I do that for many youths. And we want to agree that in our country, Kenya, if you don't score the right grade that you are supposed to attain for you to get to the university, we have other procedures whereby we see people go through certificate level, diploma level, higher diploma level, degree, the master's, and even PhD. And we've seen many go through that system, and we cannot judge our citizens and blunt them because they scored a D as fools or a person who cannot be of anything in their lives. Because we know for the 14 years that person has been in class and they sat for their KCSE cannot be gauged. The 1 month exam that is done cannot be engaged with the 14 years experience and understanding that person has gone through for the 14 years. So it's good only to be fair and clarify that maybe Governor Joe, we've not seen him through how he has gone through those Iraqis. We didn't see where he got his certificate from. We didn't see where he got his diploma from. And maybe his degree is only telling us about different universities where he attends in his degrees. He's not telling us who were his classmates. So when we are putting it, we need to put it clear that so that we don't demoralize others who are coming up and they score and then they feel like their world has come to an end. I totally, as a career passionate person, disagree with that. We need, when we want to guide people, let's guide accordingly, because also our exam, when you are sitting for an exam as a student, sometimes some people sit for their exams in hospitals and admitted. And as long as you can only write your name, the government recognizes that you have sat for the exam and there is no any special exam for the KCSE students or KCPE unless they repeat. So I wanted to clarify that, fellow countrymen and women. The other thing I want to come to is, I would say that with the vetting, we saw very clearly our MPs, actually they are the people even who are more incompetent, because once you see at the questions that they were asking, the truth is you cannot start asking irrelevant questions while there are things that the true citizens are complaining and lamenting, and you can see exactly what is happening in the nation. You need to ask questions that focus and redirect this officer who is being appointed or reappointed in the office to tell us what they are going to do differently from whoever has been in that particular office or whoever has been holding that office. As I have said in another group yesterday, I want to say it here, because actually the people who are here are just being awarded. They don't want to think. And the greatest problem that we have with our leaders who sit in offices is that they take an office as a reward, and they don't want to think, and they don't want to allow any other person who can think to work on their behalf or guide them on what to do, because they feel you are becoming a threat and bringing competition. What we are saying is that we need to see these people, despite that they have been appointed and all these things, we need to come up with a criteria whereby a cabinet secretary represents the interest of the president, or is almost in that department is the president. So we want to come up with a situation whereby, as a nation, this person Kwanzaa cannot be recycled. If you've been a leader for more than 10 years, what you have not done, you cannot do. Keep off and go and do something else. Give chance for other people to run the country. That will end the impunity that we have in leadership, and the monopoly of who intimidates who, and the issues of impunity will come to an end. Second, we will also bring to an end the issue of recycling senior leaders and the senior people who have been there, and that's the only way anybody who gets into power will know they are supposed to be in power for 10 years, and they will always respect the citizens of Kenya, knowing after 10 years we can take action against them and take them to prison and run our country in a better way. And for that reason, we will find out that we have a better country. I'm just ending. We have a better country.
Okay, yeah, land, please. Land. If you talk 10 minutes, other people will talk more minutes then. So
I'm just
we'll not
finishing.
keep
I'm saying the last one.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, the last one.
Yeah,
1
that's
minute.
what I'm saying. We will find ourselves having a better country, and where every other person respects each other. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Fellow Kenyans, wherever you are, thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Josephine, for that. And we're going to respond.
Josephine, as you're landing, maybe just a clarification of whatever you say that Joho should not be judged on his credentials.
I can hear you.
Let's
Check
even
with
assume that
Kingsman if he can hear you.
we are diverting away
Hillary?
from
Okay,
academics.
I'll text Hillary.
Kingsman cannot
How
hear
will you
anybody.
grade his time
Okay,
as
then
the
please
governor
tell
of
him to log
Mombasa
out
for
and
10
come
years?
back
I
in.
think Kingsman is just talking. Hillary and Madge. Kingsman is asking something, but his voice is a little bit blurry. But yeah, muffled.
I can hear him. I can hear him, but he cannot hear me. So I think, Kingsman, check your mic so that we can coordinate well.
Oh, Madge.
Because we need to coordinate. Yeah.
Okay, as we sort that out, Hillary, who was next?
Hannah was next. Then Alicia. I see Alicia is back. Yeah.
Okay. So Hannah, go.
Sawa. Okay, asanteni Hillary, Madge, Daktari, salamu, salute, and all the Kenyans in the space. Jamani nawauliza, sijui nani alitoroga sisi. This audit and whatever they're doing and this interviews is just another, for me, it always has been a Houdini show, a magic show. The magician and the magician assistants playing their magic right in front of our eyes and actually misleading you, and you can see it. There is nothing real about that. That is not their net worth. The government knows it. The people who are asking them to interview know it. Us Kenyans know it. But year in and year out, we sit there and say so and so's net worth is this. Come on, guys, we must do better than this. How long can we be fooled on a magic show? And it's very sad, to be honest. It's the same magic show we've been watching for years in and year out. But then ask yourself this question. Why do these guys need this job? It doesn't pay much. They're all billionaires. Why are they insisting on doing this shitty job? Leave it for the actual Kenyans who want a better Kenya for it. Why is it so important for you to be there if it's not power and greediness? then tell me what is the reason that somebody with billions still wants to sit down, get scrutinized. There is no scrutinization. There is no interview. There is no audit. There is no net worth that they're saying their worth is all lies. And at that, even if we agree that is what they're worth, you're worth billions. Dude, why do you want to be, why do you want this position? Why do you think you're entitled to serve Kenyans? It should be a privilege serving Kenyans, not, not your right, not something that because all of you are together and you want to secure your billions and your net worths, then the only way to do that is be in a certain seat. So all of them are crooks. They are guarding each other's interest. And this network and this interview shenanigan is all BS. Thank you, guys. It pisses me off every time I watch those things.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Hillary, you want to say?
Go ahead.
Hillary, I was saying something. I wanted to make a clarification or rebound on what Josephine was saying before. I think she has said that Daktari shouldn't cast aspersions on Joho's credentials in terms of education, and we shouldn't vilify with people with D minus. So what I wanted to ask her is, if you flip it on the other side, Joho was a governor for Mombasa for 10 years. If you rank his 10 years as a governor of Mombasa, what grade will you give him? By the time he was leaving, Mombasa County had the most, the highest number of pending bills. He wasn't paying any pending bills to the contractors in Mombasa. Mombasa was one of, in terms of development, there is no single development that can be associated directly with Sonko as the governor of Mombasa. So even him in
Kings, he wouldn't say, Kings, a short and long version of your answer would be, for me, he would not even sit that exam. Forget about me giving him D or E or F. He would be excluded right off.
I agree. And in terms of rating, then if we rate him as a governor of Mombasa, I think he'll score an F. He wouldn't even be at the E level. So Justin, maybe if you're hearing me, in terms of, I think as people have been saying here, over and over, we need meritocracy when it comes to governance. So we cannot start saying that we are doing this because he was here. If he's not qualified, he's not qualified. That's all.
Can I
Go ahead.
Yes, take a minute.
No.
Hillary?
Yeah, I just want to put something right, Mr. King.
No.
Okay,
just to take note of that.
Josephine.
Josephine, we
wait
don't
for
work.
guidance from Hillary. Hillary, please provide guidance.
Yeah. Josephine, I think we don't respond that way. I think, and that will be rebuttal going forth and forward. I think here we're just trying to make conversation straightforward. And also, what Dr. was saying that about D minus was not about saying that everybody who got D minus is a stupid person. I think you explained that well, but he was saying that this person cannot approve. Actually, this answer was about the current CS. It was not about everybody who got that. So I think that should be clear. Maggie, go ahead, give people my
Yes, I'll go ahead and Josephine, just a reality check here. Many years ago, we would believe that a lot of people really, have had the opportunity of even getting through high school. It's surprising sometimes when you're employing people, you know they are good, you've talked to them, and you're assuming they have high school certificate. Do you know they come back to you and say, high school na sina, they did not have the chance, the economic times are really, really hard. I experienced these and I was like, okay, what is going on there? So I just want to say that there are people who have a chance to improve, but I also want to say that the people hawana namna, na venye walitoka hiyo shule hawakufika, haikuwa mapenzi yao, na ikikuwa ni kurudi wanaweza taka pia kurudi, lakini kwa saa hiyo wako na mtu ako na bibi, ako na watoto wanasoma. Sasa nani aende shule? So hiyo sasa ni reality yenye tulikuwa nataka tu kuongezea hapo. Daktari, I see your hand up. Take the mic before we proceed.
Yeah, thank you very much. I wanted to explain something because I think that it is not good to not be understood. I thought I was very clear, but apparently not. Just a day ago, I wrote a bit of a lengthy celebration of Thomas Joseph Odhiambo Mboya, the first Kenya's minister, cabinet secretary for economic planning in this country of ours called Kenya. Now, for those who don't know, Tom Mboya's highest formal level of education was not even Form 4. He dropped out because of lack of fees in Form 2. That is Form 2 in secondary school, Form 2. Tom Mboya, by all estimates, and this is everyone who is objective, who is neutral, who is unbalanced, who is unbiased, and who is intellectually knowledgeable about Kenya and the world, was one of the most brilliant Kenyans we've ever had. His grasp of public policy, his intellectual brilliance, his ability to deliver, both in writing and orally, his ability to conceptualize public policy and implement it, his ability to gather resources and use it ethically for public good was exceptional. I did that. I mean, I did that to Tom Mboya, who did not even have D minus. So when we look at these things, please understand what we are saying contextually. Joho, first of all, as far as I'm concerned, is a complete failure in all spheres of life, not just academically, intellectually, ethically, strategically, policy-wise. Everything about him is a failure. And on top of it, he's a criminal because he's an organized criminal selling drugs. We cannot have a country with no values, where everything goes, and people demand of you to be able to tell them, oh, Joe has not been convicted. How do you expect a criminal to be convicted in Kenya? Nobody gets convicted. The head of public prosecutions is in conflict with EACC because he wants, or he purportedly backdated a letter saying that he terminated a case against Oparanya so that he can clear the way for Oparanya to be a cabinet secretary. When everyone, even a gardener working for the government, must have EACC clearance certificate. But Oparanya apparently is not supposed to have one. So please, we are talking of a much more serious problem than this thing about grades. And yes, Marge is right, everybody else, Kingsman, I was not talking about every Kenyan and saying they cannot get to a point where they overcome this issue about grades. I said inability, incapacity to understand and to conceptualize public policy. That's not about grades. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. for clarifying that. I'd like to say that we still have a lot of requests coming up. So those who've spoken, kindly drop the mic and leave the opportunity for others. We're going 2 minutes each. Anthony, William, and then His Excellency in that order. Anthony, can you hear me? William? His Excellency? Okay. Everyone on the panel, if you can hear me and want to speak, raise your hand. The rest who are not speaking will have to drop them.
Yes, hello. Hello.
Okie dokie. Anthony, we called you. Please open your mic, unmute your mic and speak.
His Excellency is speaking, Marge.
Okay.
Can you not hear His
No.
Excellency?
Okay, then.
Hello, Marge. Can you hear me? Marge,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Excellency. Then I will give other people.
Okay, I can
Marge,
hear. I can hear him now. Let him go. No.
Okay.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. And first of all, to congratulate Daktari. What he has said is very true. But my question to Daktari, as for now, he knows we don't have opposition leaders.
all of them has been captured by the government. So him too, he used to be in opposition leaders, but nowadays he's not talking the way he used to talk. So how are we going to solve our issues and problems? And what are some of the issues we youth are supposed to reiterate so that the government will make sure that the government do as we wanted? Those ones were my question. Anyway, thank you so much.
Magic, go on. Is done.
Thank you, Hilary. Let me try to cue the next person. If I can still not hear them, then I will drop and come back. Anthony, can you hear me? Okay, Hilary, can you check if Anthony can hear you? Then I'll, because his hand's raised up and he's not speaking. Or Kingsman, check.
I can see Karani. Karani can go.
Oh, Kaira, Maj. Oh, Kings, can you hear me?
Yeah, Kaira, I can hear you. Yeah, go on.
Okay. Thank you so much. I just want to be grateful for this opportunity to have my submissions on this space. I just want to say that, just to be brief, I just want to say that our country is a captive of political classes, or other political class, so to speak. And I think the only way we can overcome this is by way of revolution. Because we have come to trust politicians so much, but it has come to our realization that there's no way they can be able to help us. The only thing that they can do is to enslave us. They are there not for us, but for their own interests. And I've just been seeing the interviews that has been going on by the Parliament, and we cannot really say that our political institutions have failed. If somebody comes and tells us that he's worth 600 million or 2 point something billion, and they're not being asked how did they get this wealth that they have, then you can agree with me that there is a big problem. You can also see the nominees from ODM. They have been criticizing the government, but now they seem to be done.
Can you hear him, Kaira?
No, he's gone silent, Maj.
Okay, before he comes back, Anthony, kindly proceed. I think somebody called him. Okay. If Anthony is not hearing, Patrick or Jeff?
Patrick, can you hear Maj? All right. Alicia, are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You're muted again.
I'm sorry. I'd like to address the question about the opposition without without a leader. I think that is the best structure actually, because when you decenter power or a single leader, it's very difficult for people to dismantle the movement because they can't remove a single figurehead and say that the opposition is not there. So I think, and I really I've heard this so many times, that why doesn't Gen Z have a leader? I think that's a very horrible question to ask, because you're not doing this for a leader. You're doing this for yourself, for your kids, for your country, if you love your country. And the other thing I would also like to address is whatever the doctor said here about the West really interfering in our leadership. I really believe that that is true. And I think that is one of the neo-colonial dynamics that we're facing right now. Because as he said, if one white person was killed during these protests, they would have him removed, they would have Ruto removed from presidency immediately. So I feel like this is one of the things that is really, and maybe I can explain more. We've seen that a lot of people are being shipped outside the country to work in the West. So I'm really saying that, wow, this is part of neocolonialism, because we are shipping our own labor. This is called brain drain. Like, we are draining our own country of labor that we have created, so we can't even build our own country, because most people will want to go to a country that they're being appreciated, not in the way that their Western uh, compadres are being appreciated, but like, more than they are being appreciated in Kenya. The other thing I was also saying is that the more we also say that, oh, I would really like to leave this country, we have this unsustainable economic model that, people are just depending on remittances for developing the country. And the other thing that maybe not a lot of people have seen is that as much as we're shipping people outside, you'll see a lot of new companies coming up in Kenya, and most of them are Western owned. There are very few Kenyan owned companies that are coming up in Kenya. So I think that that's a very big problem that we should also address right now during this talk. The other thing I would also like to address is
Alicia, and then you need to
I'm
land,
sorry.
because we have 2 minutes each per speaker, and I think this is the second time you're speaking.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
let's
Okay.
be considerate. Back to you.
Okay. Let me just end it there and give the floor to someone else.
Thank you so much. We'll circle you back, because we have less ladies speaking, and we will circle you back again. We would like to request Gen Zs to come to the mic. I think Kara, who didn't finish speaking, has just dropped. And I would like to request that we center our discussions to the Nane Nane that's upcoming. Those who have questions, please channel them to Dr Miguna and Dr Mkawasi. I see you on the mic, because that way we're not going to have at least a space with the Miguna Miguna before Nane Nane. So let's have the topic surrounding there, and really just be concrete, because for other things like the reforms that he has already also talked about and pointed out that we're talking about, that we can talk about at a different time point. But let's just try to be precise, and just stay within the topic. And that having been said, Anthony, this is the last call. Let's see if you can speak. Then you go to Jeff, Wakili, Patrick, and Seven in that order, 2 minutes each. Anthony? Okie dokie. Jeff, then Wakili and Seven. Wakili, can you hear me? Or who can hear me on the mic? Others I'll drop and come back.
Yes, you're loud and clear,
I
man.
can hear you.
Okay, Patrick, take a go. If you're on the mic, you cannot hear me and you're not speaking, we will just give you a chance once, then we'll need to drop you, because that is how people end up messing with our spaces. Some of them just come and they stay on the mic and within minutes you see a lot of technical challenges. Patrick, take a go.
Yeah, mine Marge, is thanks for host and co-host, and for Daktari for saying all the things that he has said. I just wanted to encourage revolutionaries and to say that Nane Nane must happen, and we have to keep on pushing. But I wanted to just reflect with us that if Nane Nane is happening in Nairobi, I think the future we should be looking for is Nane Nane happening in all the 47 counties, and focusing on a Ruto in that county that needs to go. Because I think we now have one side versus the movement. And one side means what was formerly opposition is now government. And so if we're saying Ruto must go at the national level, I think we're also saying the governors who come from that opposition party that has joined government must also go, so that we devolve the movement and get the numbers and get the action happening at the outposts as it is happening in Nairobi. That's the revolutionary spirit that I would like to see. Let's mobilize more people. Let's get more anger into this. Let's increase the sites where civic mobilization is taking place. Let us also bring in all the groups that we can bring in. Let's talk to the generations. I like the idea of Gen Zote that has begun concretizing and people talking about Gen Zote instead of just one generation. Let us also continue still saying that this is tribeless, because I think it's important and the country needs it. That fresh air is needed every other corner. And let's just go viva. I mean, that's what I wanted to share, just a word of encouragement. And thanks for organizing the space. And thanks for being so kind every often to give people some 2 minutes to talk about these things.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for that. We go to Jess Mjama, Wakili, and then Wycliffe. Okay, I've had to remove Jeff because that was the third call. Who can speak on the mic? Carry your hand, please. Sorry, on the panel. Okay, Western, go.
Thanks, Marge and Hillary and Dr. Miguna Miguna and all of you on this forum. Mine is to say that Nane Nane is imperative, and subsequently the protest must happen. Why? Because we have a failed state. We have a decayed state, and clearly Ruto and his government are completely clueless vis-a-vis taking this country forward. You can see from the vetting, you ask yourself, what was the point of the so-called dismissal of the cabinet secretaries who are there before? Because the ones who are being vetted, they're just as clueless, just as mediocre, just as depraved morally. So what does it imply? It implies that the state is decayed. Opposition. These people are not the opposition. They masqueraded. Raila Odinga was masquerading as an opposition leader. He was not. He's a cynic. He also thinks just like William Ruto and those who came before him. So he hasn't betrayed us, because for people who are committed to a better Kenya, to reform, to change, to a total overhaul of this political, economic, and social architecture, have not had Raila Odinga as one of the people who can midwife that change. So he's not betrayed us. He's just done the cynical politics that he has engaged in since time immemorial. So what is the way forward? The way forward is that we have to wrestle the country back. We have to bring to an end this feudal system whereby a few people are entitled to privileges regardless of how they behave. They can murder, they can steal, they can break the law with impunity, but still they're rewarded and they masquerade as our leaders. That must stop, and they're not going to stop it because it's in their interest that they continue loading it over us. So we, the millions who are at the receiving end, have to wrestle the country back into our hands, and we reset the country values, social justice, constitutionalism, equity, justice, fair play, these things to be part and parcel of our public and moral life. Viva, thank you.
Thank you so much, Weston. And as we proceed, I see that Dr. giving you thumbs up there. I think you really resonated with his thoughts. As we proceed, let's not forget to build the network. So follow the host, the co-host, the speakers, look left and right and follow each other. And this is going to come handy. Wilson, I see you. Thanks. This is going to come handy when you have a message to amplify. The more followers you have, the better, because it gets out, especially now that people are still being abducted. There are people who are complaining and saying, no, they did not notify anyone about our missing because we had less followers. So do follow each other. Wilson, over to you.
Hi everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon to each and every one of us. Thank you very much, Marge and Hillary, Daktari, and everyone who is here with us. I have a very, very quick one that I want to say before I forget. First of all, when we say we are going to the street, I suggest we go to the street. I've seen at some point that we are in the street, and some people are busy having space meetings. That's very bad, because I think when we are on the street, it don't help us unless you want to give us direction. Killers are coming from this side, let's go the other side. In case you are not doing so, you are not helping us. If we decide we are going to on such and such a date, for example, we have a Nane Nane coming ahead of us, let's re-strategize, let's plan for it and wait for it eagerly, knowing that there's something ahead of us that we want to do. Secondly, I think that we should not even think about the cabinet vetting, because they are not vetting anything. Those are their people. I know these people in person. Those people, they are there because they have what those people want. They are their calibers. A thief will always have a friend who is also a thief. If you are a thief, your friends must be thieves. For example, this guy who was claiming to be the Gen Z leader, this called Baraza, he shot somebody and killed instantly. What did they do? They cover up. The Kagombe thing, this guy from which side, Kiambu, he killed somebody. They cover up. So all these people, the only way that can really help us, the only way we can get our nation back, our country back, it's just by going there, taking what is rightfully belongs to us. Me and you, we come up, we team up with our flags, water, and everything, because I know they'll surely do it to us. But we must get our country back. The issue of let's forget about the Joe and those nonsense. We cannot help. We are in our houses, but when we go to the street in good numbers, we have our strength in numbers. Thank you so much. That's what I really wanted to pass, and I really want to encourage us. Kindly, please, let's do it together. Let's go. Let's go. Not that some people, Gen Z, millennial, all those X and everybody, let's go, because there's a time all of us must go. If we feel angry, let's all of us feel angry in the streets. Thank you so much, and God bless you. God bless us. God bless Kenya.
Thank you so much, Wilson. Let's go by Wycliffe and then Wakili Ndegwa and then Lekisho. Lekisho, you kept dropping. I'm glad you came back. Wycliffe, you dropped also. Those are sometimes people tell us that they've been removed from the space. No, it's a technical issue, people dropping. So Wycliffe, are you able to speak?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, kindly proceed.
Good evening, everyone. So I want to contribute. I think I want to agree with the General Miguna Miguna on this issue, because all along these people have been on the same side, and so by them moving to support the government is not something new. They've always been part of that government anyway. This is actually also an eye-opener to us that the fight is on our side, and we need to keep focused, like the way Daktari keeps on saying. All this vetting you're seeing with the CSS, those are how does Miguna call it? Abracadabra. Because if you look at how they are vetting even the CSS, there's nothing concrete coming out of this conversation or this vetting. And so as a team, if we kept the same momentum when we began of going to the streets and picketing and protesting, we would have won this war a long time ago. We just dropped the ball along the way. But I think the most important thing is we need to refocus and come back and now have a very formidable force again. Okay? So I want to agree with this team, and I want to assure you that I'm also part of this. And Viva, let's continue pushing. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you so much, Wycliffe. We go to Wakili Ndegwa and then Lekisha and then 6,000.
Thank you. Thank you very much, listeners and fellow comrades, fellow fighters, fellow members in council, in the comrades in the struggle. I am so happy this evening, having listened to the submissions by our able doctor. I have never seen a man who has remained consistent and predictable like Daktari. And most importantly, when it comes to describing those characters. And one of the characters that he has consistently demystified and explained to us is this man, Raila Odinga. I cannot agree with him more that he's a conman, he's a political conman, he's a betrayer, and that is a man who has never, ever focused on becoming what he has decided to be. Having said that, I think our focus then is to see how we are going to liberate this country. There is no doubt that Kenyans have resolved that we need a change. It is no doubt that Kenyans have agreed that we need change. And they have also agreed that change will be initiated and brought by ourselves. And that this change must come during our lifetime. So there is no doubt about that. And that is why Kenyans have agreed that on the Nane Nane, they are going to congregate all of us in Nairobi in efforts to liberate ourselves. I just want to encourage fellow comrades that Nane Nane is a date with destiny, is a date when we have to make our own self-determination. We have been silent for a long time. We have allowed the systems, and most importantly, the so-called democracy to guide us, but it has always yielded the undesired results. Part of what the so-called democracy has yielded is the current rogue regime, is the current regime of hooligans, is the current regime of impunious people. So we may not be able to trust democracy 100%. And we must then be able to get to a situation where we are saying we want our own self-determination. We want to domesticate our democracy the way we understand it here in Kenya, the way we understand it from our own community where we come from. And then we modify it to fit within the Western concept of democracy. What is happening with us and what is contained in our constitution is a complete Western concept of democracy, which has never been domesticated and which we are now doing a test run. And the test run has yielded the current regime. So on Nane Nane is a date of self-determination. It's a date when we are going to walk to freedom and walk ourselves for freedom. It's a date when we are going to redeem this country, redeem ourselves from the shackles of this Western concept of democracy, redeem ourselves from these puppets who have been installed and maintained by the Westerners for their own selfish gain. So on 8th of 8th is a date when we must speak with a loud voice from our rooftops. For anybody who bothers to hear, to listen, that Kenyans have decided to shape their own destiny. On that day, we'll speak and walk on the streets and march ourselves to freedom. And I'm encouraging people, if you're not able, if you have nothing to work for on that day, come and walk for the blood of Rex. If you have nothing to work for or nothing to hold on to convince you that you need to leave your comfort zone and come and walk, please come and work for that young child who is not able to get a BCG vaccination upon birth. If you have nothing to hold on to or to work for, just come and march for that old woman and old man who is not able to get his social support system. Come and work for our food, our grains, the sovereignty of the grain that has been mutilated by the Westerners. Come and walk yourself to freedom for the bodies that are, countless bodies that are now lying in city mortuary. So we must dramatize ourselves and we must walk on that particular day. It doesn't matter whether you'll be leading, whether you'll be in the middle, whether you'll be or you'll be behind. As long as you'll be walking from wherever you'll be, we walk ourselves to freedom. We must speak with a loud voice for anybody again to hear, because this democracy has failed us. We cannot try this thing first, the second time, and then we keep on doing the same thing repeatedly. That we need to be insane. We need to be out of our mind for us not to try something else. Like Dr. said, it worked. It has worked elsewhere in the countries, and the most recent is the Southern Sudan. Sorry, is the Sudan situation. We must walk. If Sudanese can walk when they had a brutal dictator, how about us? We must walk. We must walk against this so-called vetting that is going on in Parliament. This is not vetting. This is just rubber stamping. And because they are not listening to us, we will work against the person who is orchestrating this mischief, who is orchestrating this impunity, and that is none other than Mr. William Ruto. So on that date, come and work for that particular child who is not able to get capitation funds in their classes. On that day, as I sum up, come and work yourself and redeem this country from the shackles of slavery. Let us emanate, let us have come and emancipate ourselves from this slavery. If we do not work, William Ruto will walk over us. People are saying, oh, guys will die, they will be killed. Revolutions are always like that. And anyway, even if we don't work, even if we don't die of a bullet, we are dying of uncontrollable diseases. If we don't die of bullet, we are still dying of hunger. We may not die of a bullet, but we'll die on a road crash because of the impunity and the recklessness of the Kenya's drivers because of the failed system. If we don't walk on that day, perhaps, and die of a bullet, you'll die of the criminals in the streets. You'll die of the failure to have a BCG. How many kids are dying currently because of lack of the BCG? Come and work for the voiceless. Let us redeem our country. Let us rebuild our country. Let us reclaim our country. Let us work for freedom. Viva, viva, viva. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wakili, and indeed, Viva. We move to 6,000.
Yeah, so
Sema, unanipata 6,000.
nakusikia.
Yes, we can hear you, Maj.
Okay.
So I want to say this on Nane Nane, we are just going to enjoy our taxes in the state house. So nobody should discourage you enjoying your taxes and the state house when you are the one who pays these taxes. So I told you, you should not be afraid. We are going there to have juice, walk on those pavements. There is a church there. We will pray that the William Ruto resigns earlier than 2 p.m. We are going to enjoy our lives there. Nobody is going to be killed. You know, this is our country. And if it's our country, as I always say, we are the employers of these people. And if you are the employers, we call the shots. And I told you we are demanding William Ruto to resign. We are not requesting. The moment we reach a point where we as the Kenyan citizens, we've decided to demand, we are demanding. And Maj, there's one thing that makes me very mad on these spaces. We keep on repeating things every day, every day, every day, yet we forget to act on them. I'm more of an actions person. Wake up and go on those streets. I've always said, tunapeleka kisu kwa vita ya bunduki. We are going there 2 people against people who are armed. Our greatest weapon is numbers, and those numbers are the ones that will liberate this country. So let us just make sure that we work on the numbers game that are going to liberate us on Nane Nane. Those people who feel like they don't have something to work for, to go out there for, kindly just remember it's your country you're fighting for, and there is nobody who's going to feed you in the coming years if we can't fight right now. We are fighting right now so that in future we will have a life that we will be self-dependent, not dependent on these people who will be coming to give us handouts every day. We are fighting so that our kids will have a better life. We are not going out there because of Mutuetu and Mutuetu and Mutuetu. I told you there is nobody who's called Baba in this country. His name is Raila Amolo Odinga. There's nobody, CG William Ruto is what? His name is William Ruto. He's a human being. He has 2 balls like me. And he does not have more energy. What he just has is power that he has been given, that we as the people gave him that power. And it is time we want to take back that power and get him into a normal.
Did
We've
6,000
lost you,
drop?
Maj. Oh, I think we've lost him. We've lost 6,000.
Let me. There he's requesting. He dropped. He was on fire, and then something happened to him. Let me see if he can pick this again. And
I've added him back. So
okay,
6,000 continue.
6,000.
6,000.
Kingsman, can you hear him? Because I cannot hear him. 6,000. Continue. You dropped and we've added you back. Yeah, go
Yeah,
on. I can hear him now. Yeah.
you can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, and you control
Yeah,
your background. 6,000.
yeah, okay. My mic dropped. I want to tell you guys this. And the other thing I usually say, Kenyans, we are hypocrites. And we will keep being hypocrites because we are consuming information that we shouldn't be consuming. There's one thing I've always said on this X and on these spaces. Right now, if I came here and I keep listening to Maj, and Maj is misleading me, I wouldn't keep on listening to much because I have a self-independent mind, a self-independent brain that should be able to filter this information. William Ruto goes on TV and says, tumetenga, tumefanya hii. That you want to listen and believe this will happen, yet you refuse to reflect on all the 10 years he was the deputy president and said Kamarini Stadium will be due in 3 months. It was not made, and yet we keep on falling for these tricks each day and say, like, let us give him time. Which time are you giving him? Kibaki was elected a president in 2002. In 2003, free education was already in practice. And that is just acting. And the other thing I've always said here is that we should not be voting these people based on them coming to tell us they'll build roads. We want proper representation, not whatever they should be doing. You are coming here to tell us you are going to. How are we as Kenyans benefiting from William Ruto going to make a road in Turkana? Yet the rate of inflation is too high, affecting a common mwananchi earning 10 shillings, 100 shillings, 50 shillings. So this country, it has reached a point we should fight for it. And I want to tell you, let us fight for our country. Tuache kusikiza watu huku nje wanatuambia nini. Whoever has been paid, let him be paid. We don't care. Me, I'm not fighting because somebody was paid. I'm not fighting because of Akina Hanifa, Akina Boniface Mwangi. I'm fighting because I'm a Kenyan and I believe this country has a lot of potential. I fight for my country. I fight for my people. And I believe the moment we will get good governance, we will come to sit down as a people and say, we got our country to the Singapore status. Let us not be, I'm watching Olympics right now. And let me tell you, up to now, Kenya doesn't have even a single medal. Just a single medal. Volleyball tulipigwa juzi with Poland. Juzi tumekuja Japan tumetandikwa. Rugby we finished number 10. Come to look, there are some matches we should be competing in a country. We have oceans here whereby watu wana swim huko. We cannot even produce a swimmer who can go on to win a single silver or bronze medal, if not gold. This country has a lot of potential, but imewekwa. Look wakina nani wako huko Paris. TG the basketball chairman is in Paris. Anatumia pesa zetu sisi kama wa Kenya. Yet we don't have a basketball team competing in those competitions right now. You'll get members of parliament with their families there. Yet, nobody. We sisi wa Kenya ndo tunaumia. And this is what we are going to fight for. Guys, wake up and fight for your country. Mwache hypocrisy. Nane nane, tunatokea sisi wote. Na mimi nitakuwa pale. Hata mdosi job nimemwambia. I won't turn up to work until I fight for my country. So guys, as I wind up, fight for your country. Wake up in numbers. Thank you.
Thanks so much, 6,000. One question though. I mean, you can answer it if you want to. Otherwise, also not. What's happening on the ground there? Because today I shared a flyer of the UK team that is planning to also do a Nane Nane, of course. But I don't know if they've increased the number of people who are trying to suppress the Nane Nane, because there was a mass, first there was a mass, pushback, and people are like, oh, tumechoka, inciting. It seems more like they were trembling and trembling and trembling. Is this the impression you have, or no? Because it was really quite surprising. It confirmed to me that people are tensed there. So is there anything you could share to that in that direction, but only if you want to?
Yeah, so I'll say this: the ground is rooted for Nane Nane, and people are going out on Nane Nane. Me, I live in Kikuyu land, and I sit down with these people every day. We talk, we communicate, and I've seen people I never imagined in these streets. We go together on these streets because they are tired. They say, what we elected these people for. So the ground is rooted for Nane Nane. I talk with a lot of policemen on the ground, and they say Finya, because I've since 2016 I've had my time interacting with the policemen and all that, since my time when I was working for NCCG. So what I'll tell you, Marge, is that people should not lose hope. The ground is rooted. People are out for Nane Nane. Plans are underway. We've done a lot of mobilization. The other thing, people shifted to the ground so that we can get these people on the ground to come and participate in the protests. But online, kumekuwa na a lot of division, and people are trying to move from that division that has been online. So we are moving on the ground. People are doing civic education on the ground. Also, you can take some focus. You can visit TikTok and see whatever has been happening there. People talking in vernacular languages to try and spread this information to different people within the country, so that we can have a bigger amount of people on the streets come 8th of August 2024. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Six. And of course, I will share also my TikTok and tag you and the rest of us who are here. Let's also do that, and so that we follow up everywhere. Kingsman, over to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to give. There's a guy I've added by the name Fresh. He was with us and Hillary on Tuesday. And his message really was touching, and he had a lot to speak about the movement. So Fresh, if you can go, and then Karan, you've been here for long.
Yeah,
I think
I don't know what happened. I was
yeah,
dropped
there was a
or
problem with your mic. So let Fresh go, and then you can come after, and then whoever wants to go after, please raise up your hand so that we are able to queue you in line. So Fresh, please, if you can hear.
It's a privilege to be here. Mine is really, as you've said earlier, it's just we need to have fresh leadership in Kenya. We are in a situation whereby it is so horrible, and we can't even talk about it. It's where the oppressor is trying to control the narrative of how we look like instead of how he looks like. I was very, very mad the other time when Oscar Sudi, an engineer, a fake engineer, tries to water down the credibility of the General Miguna Miguna, who everybody who knows has been quite oppressed by many regimes because of trying to stand for the truth. It is very, very expensive, and Miguna, kudos for standing tall on this journey. You started very early, and that's why I'm encouraging a lot of people that now this Generation Zote movement, because some of us, and of course with people like Miguna and others, have a long history of our struggle and where the country has come to this point. It is exciting to hear Gen Zs asking, how did we get there? It is true, they may not have, a lot of Gen Zs may not have an idea of why we got here. I myself, Gen X. But when we look around history, and because we have been lucky a bit to have gone to school, we actually can trace back where our problem started. But because now we are dealing with a monster, we got to collapse this monster. Number one, I want to talk to the police officers, intelligence officers, and DCI who are in this forum. You must remember that this government is gone. It will be a waste of time for you to be used as vessels to try and suppress your own brothers and sisters, to waste your time in spaces like this, to go and try to get feedback, to take feedback to your bosses, or even if you are the boss, to suppress your own people. I dare say with a lot of confidence that even General Bashir was there. He suppressed people, now he's rotting in jail. The other day we had a situation where our deputy president is rumored to have participated or have been sent to destabilize a former president or to be involved in something, allegedly. But we can now see how he came back and turned back and tried to say that he's sorry for whatever happened and it's very wrong that he abused the mother and so forth. So in a nutshell, I'm not trying to say that that was the best example of anything. I'm just trying to remind all the officers who are here and NSIS agents that you will be used now. But when tables turn, you'll look for somewhere to run and you'll not find. You will be a Hague material and they are going to deliver you first to the courts before themselves they are delivered to the courts. So you better do your patriotic duty and protect the constitution that you sought to protect. Your job is to protect Kenyans and not to eliminate Kenyans, to be used in schemes to eliminate Kenyans, to be used in schemes to abduct Kenyans, to be used in schemes to oppress your fellow Kenyans. Just remember that, and whenever you're giving your advice or wherever you're involved, you can easily also sabotage prison officers who are here and who are not here. You have a duty to, because 99% of the people who are in prison are usually not serious criminals or anything serious, just because you're dealing with a very, very corrupt judiciary. And the other day, one of the senior lawyers said, it's just it's a charade to go to court where the rich get released and the poor people are taken in because of lack of 500 shillings, 1,000, 10,000. So we're dealing with an extremely bad situation, and we must be able to appear in Nane Nane by nook or crook, by those who can print posters, those who can do anything. We must support this cause and collapse this regime, because this regime is determined to be able to use violence. And if we don't be able to, we will not be able to, because we've already rattled the snake and it already hit, the tail is all off. And William is in a corner. You can see the panic, all those gymnastics of trying to play and do all those funny things. It has been done before. We know them. We have seen the Johos on this world, the Railas of this world. And I can tell you for free, the name Conman Raila Odinga is now very officially resonating with a lot of Kenyans. Because these are people who are just betraying all the movements because they're so selfish. And we expected nothing. And I'm sure many people who never even voted was because there was no choice in the last election. But now we have a chance to be able to redo this thing again and be able to use the law on our side. But finally, I just want to congratulate all those people who have remained focused on this cause. There's a lot of issues and desperation from the system to try and use robots and use funny people to try and divide the movement. But because people are feeling the pain, this is not something that where anybody is being forced to go to the street. It is because of our own problems that we are going through. I was asking people the other day, we have a vehicle driver who is carrying us from Kawangware to Nairobi. He's drinking whiskey on one side, the whiskey Bible ya uongo. On the other side, he's eating miraa, he's on drugs, he's drugged, and the driver is going so recklessly on the road, and the passengers are inside quiet. And the guys, Makanga is telling us, wait, mtafika poa. There is no way. We're in the middle of the road. It is us to remove this driver and take this vehicle on our own and reach our destination. Because we can't wait there and die. Because the question is, are we ready to die while in the vehicle because of this driver his own mistakes on the road, or are we able to replace this driver? So the question of waiting for William until 2027 is disaster. He will have gathered himself out and he will put the violence as his first weapon to create fear. Thirdly and lastly, we have had people like HSs in this government. We have had people like Oscar Sudi becoming now senior advisors of presidents. Someone who cannot, I've been in forums where he cannot write his own name. He cannot, it was a burial. He cannot write rest in peace. He writes those things that we used to do when we were learning how to write M. You know, it is so embarrassing. And here he is calling himself an engineer and he's making our kids think that for you to succeed in this world, you just need to be a crook. You become a makanga here, you become something, I don't know, he sold Makaa, he did what, now he's worth 20 billions. Is that something you can teach your kids? Because in other words, what these people are trying to show us is a middle finger.
Could you
Sorry.
kindly please land, because we also have other speakers who are waiting to speak. Back to you. Okay.
So it's a question of, are we wasting our kids' time in school, reading geography and all these things and getting degrees? Yet when they come to the real world of Kenyan real world, is that you got to be a crook to be able to be anything. I rest my case. Let's support the movement. Viva comrades, viva. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Karani is going to go next, but before Karani, I'd like to acknowledge Jelani. Jelani, welcome to the space. Doreen from Uganda. Viva Lex, my sister Viva Lex from the Cameroon. Welcome on board, and feel free to take the mic and, you know, give people a beat. We hope we don't get there where people are going the Paul Biya direction, but probably our younger generation need to feel how it is when, you know, a dictator is outside the country and other people are ruling the country. So I'll send you the mic. Feel free to take the mic. Yes.
Dr. Makawasi is down here. I'm not sure if
I sent her the mic. Let me send her again. Dr. Please pick the mic.
And I see Senior Counsel Chacha Odera. Maybe he can also speak if he wants to.
Sure. And Dr. please then feel free to chime in after Karani. Let me send Dr. Mokasi the mic again. Karani, take the mic, and then we go to Dr. Miguna as the other speakers also come on board.
Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you so much. This is my first time to be in this space. Thank you so much, the hosts. Daktari, it's nice to be in the same forum with you again. One of the things that I have to join other earlier speakers to say is that Daktari Miguna has stood the test of time in terms of principle. And some of the things that he has talked about, the elite, political elites in our country, has come to pass. As a millennial, looking at the leaders that we thought would inspire revolution and change in the country, like Raila Odinga, and when Dr. Miguna came and said, these people are not what we think they are, it has come to pass. And so it is a really good thing for the revolution right now that all of us are seeing what is going on. So thank you so much, Dr. for being strong in principle as time went by. One of the things that I have to say seriously, and people have said this, is that our country is ailing and needs surgery. And on Nane Nane, for me, I'm speaking from Texas right now. I would love to emphasize and encourage that some of the things that needs to come up and be emphasized during the Nane Nane comrades meeting is that we need to make it clear that William Ruto has lied to us all throughout, and we need to highlight all those things that he has said and he has not done. Because I remember there was a time when he was in Mombasa, a student stood up and said, our university education has become very expensive for us. What are we going to do to make sure that it's affordable to students? And then the president stood up and said, when I came in, universities didn't have money. It's like the president is totally out of touch with what the people are feeling. The question was, what can we do to actually make education affordable? But he's going to say things that he has done. If he has made universities to have money, education is not cheap anymore. So some of these lies should be highlighted during Nanane. That is very, very important, because one of the things that they are doing when they realize the revolution is peaking is that they started throwing in tribal cards. So they go back to Rift Valley and they start saying things so that they try to mobilize the ground in Rift Valley. I think the power of social media, comrades, we have to rein in and deal with that so that we don't allow it to be able to take place so that they use that card. The other thing that I would really would like us to make it clear during Nane Nane is that agriculture is the biggest industry in the world, employs many people, generates trillions and trillions of dollars, and we need to make it clear that we're not going to allow these big corporations from other places to come take over our agricultural sector. We have had issues. You look at the countries like Russia and in Europe, some countries have actually banned GMO. And the first thing that happened is when the president came to power, there's someone, Bill Gates was the first person to come and see him. We need to make it clear that we are not going to allow people to start having monopoly of seeds so that then our farmers can start growing crops that are going to cause a lot of diseases for us. And you can see, you look at the cases of cancer and all those other things. You look at the countries, some of us who are in America, and you look at Europe, you see the problems of the kind of food that people eat here. We have a very healthy generation. You can look at Corona during the pandemic and what happened. You see how we survived. It's because some of our people are very, very healthy. And we need to maintain that. Let's make it clear that all this Monsanto and all these other companies, that we are not going to allow that.
Karani, try to land in a minute.
Yes.
Once you
Yes.
merge a their hand, please,
Yes. Thank you.
Put your in like a minute. So
I was actually, I was just landing 30 seconds. The last one that I would like to say that it needs to come out clearly on Nane Nane is we as Africans, as Kenyans, we need to make it clear that we do not need foreign military bases in our country and on the continent, because we need our dignity as human beings to be independent and foster our pathway to rekindle our civilizations as Africans. So that needs to come very clearly on Nane Nane so that the whole world can see that we're not going to allow this. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Karani. Now, let me give the opportunity now to Dr. to chime in. And also, while doing so, kindly let us know how many more minutes you have so that we can plan around that. And those on the ground, as we close, the chance is yours. You are the ones who are going to give an opportunity to speak. So do pick the mic, especially the Gen Zs. Over to you, Dr.
Thank you, Maj. I really like what I am hearing. The spirit, the fearlessness, the focus is very, very good. So I will not add too much. I will only highlight some of the things that have been said. It is important that we have as many people as possible in Nairobi CBD. This is critical because this is the seat of power, is the capital city, is the financial headquarters of East and Central Africa. It is where we will wrestle power from Ruto. So we need to be there in huge millions. We were saying for the past 2 weeks that we need to coordinate and organize movement of our people from outside Nairobi to Nairobi and offer accommodation to our relatives and friends and support in terms of transportation to those that we know, so that we can have a very, very historic revolutionary march. We should really gear for more than 1 million, hopefully more than 5 million, because when we do this, Ruto will fall. And as a gentleman said just earlier on, our security, our safety is in our numbers. The goons that Ruto and his cabal have been hiring to terrorize the protesters will not materialize when we have these huge numbers, because there is no goon who is going to attack 1 million people. Remember yesterday or the day before, Sakaja was chased away. His bodyguards had guns. They couldn't shoot, because if they tried to even shoot in the air, we would have been attending funerals for them today. So it's not possible for anyone to attack 1 million people. It's just not practically possible. It's never happened throughout the history of the world. So it will not happen in Kenya. So we need to have a huge, huge gathering, a joyous gathering, celebrating the lives of the comrades that we have lost, but also joyous in the sense that we will be marking an end of a brutal tyranny and an oppressive neocolonial state, and setting stage to transform it into a pro-people state, a state that treats Africans with dignity and that brings finally equity for the majority of the people. We need that. We need equity like yesterday, because it cannot be that we produce wealth that ends up in the hands of the Johos of the world, of the Oparanyas of the world. There is absolutely no reason why someone who has been a member of parliament for 20 years, 25 years, a governor for 10 years, is being recruited and who failed during uh, that period of time to be now imposed as a cabinet secretary to continue looting. I agree with a lot of speakers that said these people depressed their net worth, they have stolen billions. I know 10 properties that Oparanya bought when he was governor, and he was there talking as if he is not worth 1 billion shillings. And we know that Oparanya actually was charged with crimes of fraud and corruption, for which he should be facing good jail time. But Ruto is trying to do his choreography so that he can buy himself time to suppress the movement, for him to be able to coronate himself in 2027. We must stop him. And the only way to stop him is to mobilize. I also agree that for those who cannot make it to Nairobi, they should demonstrate everywhere else that they find themselves. Uchieng was right that the governors that we have throughout the country are not working for the people. And they too, for those who cannot come to Nairobi, they too, there should be protests and marches against them, against all representatives of this oppressive regime. And I also agree with those who said that for those who find themselves on the highways and they can completely block them with their bodies, that they do so. They lie on the streets and put this country to a complete stop. The revolution should be fearless, should be relentless, and should be unremitting until Ruto resigns. What he did by pretending to fire his cabinet and then recycling them is actually insulting. It's disrespectful to the people of Kenya. What he has done by denying that his police goons killed innocent civilians and then fraudulently preparing medical records that purport that some of them died in motor vehicle accidents and things like that, chopping up bodies of women and throwing them in quarries and then saying that they have arrested a serial killer, and disappearing now, according to what is now evident, hundreds of Kenyans, because bodies that have not been identified, those are people that have been disappeared. This trend cannot end and will not end until we get Ruto out of office. And nobody should tell us that we are doing this because of personal interest. Some of us would be more than comfortable continuing to do what we do, because I know a lot of successful lawyers who are part of this space. They don't have to be protesting. They don't have to be staying awake every day. They don't have to be talking in these spaces or attending them, but they are doing so because they care more about our country and our country's future and our children and grandchildren's future more than we care about our current personal interests. So we have to feel this way, because the judgment of a civilized person is that person who tries to do the best for those who are less able among us. So I just want to encourage us to continue mobilizing, to do so fearlessly, and to demonstrate to Ruto that Kenya belongs to all of us and not to him and his cabal. And I wanted to say that I would like to go at the top of the hour, that is at 10 o'clock. I have not heard from my co-panelist, Dr. Makwasi, but maybe she just wants to listen. I would be interested to hear more about what others are saying. And viva and solidarity and success to all of us. I thank you, Maj. I thank Hillary and Kingsman.
Thank you so much, Dr. Let's proceed to Jelani, Anthony, and Mzalendo in that order. And then let me try to check on Dr. Mkawasi, what's going on. Probably she's having technical issues. Jelani, over to you.
Thank you so much, Maj. Thank you, Hillary. Thank you, Kins, for this opportunity. Thank you also, Dr. Miguna, for always sharing your experience and your wisdom with us. It's always such a delight to hear you speak. I want to keep this very brief because I think a lot of things have been said on this space, and I don't want to belabor the points, but I want to remind all of us why we started this movement. And we started this movement because we collectively became very angry with what was happening in our country. And we have gone through an incredible political awakening. We are finally looking at the intestines of our country and realizing we need to deworm. We need to get rid of the rust. We need to get rid of the dirt. We were so ignorant. I was so ignorant on a lot of things. So I'll just run through the list of things that we have discovered so far that should be your motivation, to come out on the 8th of August and, every other day that people are out for the protests. And it's quite a long list. So first and foremost, we have our dead comrades, people who were peaceful, carrying bottles of water, who died for no reason. The only reason these people died is because the political class is so scared of young people finding out that they have been looting our country for decades, because young people are asking for great governance. Young people are saying stop the corruption, and that's the only reason they died. Another thing that has us angry is the Adani deal. They're trying to sell JKIA. Another thing is that our teachers are oppressed. They're not posting teachers, they're not building schools, they're not building classrooms. Teachers are the worst paid people, civil servants, and they don't care. They are stealing our minerals. They are lying to us about what is available in our soil, and allowing foreigners to come into our country and steal our gold and other minerals. I think Paulo Kimani did a very good job of exposing that. We have the seed theft situation. They're trying to ensure we never have healthy food. They're trying to bring in bad options, and then we're going to be like America, where everything is unreal. You taste chicken and it does not taste like chicken. It tastes like like a sponge. It's like you're eating a sponge. It has absolutely no taste. That's what they're trying to do to us. They're sabotaging our health systems. The hospitals do not work. They are not paying doctors. They're not posting doctors. They're not buying medication. KEMSA is getting looted every day. Unemployment, I think it's safe to say maybe 70% of our youth are unemployed. We have all these debts that we are paying that are allegedly going into people's pockets. Guys are looting our public resources so blatantly that someone could go on national television and brag that they are wearing a 17 million shilling watch. It is absolutely insane how the president lies and gaslights the nation on a daily basis. We don't even have an IEBC. So if we decided to start recalling the MPs, there's no way for us to do that right now. He has gone and fired CSs and then reappointed them again as if we are all mad. You start to feel like you're losing your mind. Just the other day, I exposed the e-mobility scandal where they stole money from Treasury to pay taxes for a foreign entity. And you start to ask yourself, when does it end? If we don't stop what is going on, when does it end? If we do not stand up and say, listen, this is our country and you cannot just do what you want to do, when will it end? So Dr. Miguna is absolutely correct. If there was 1 million, 2 million, maybe 3 million people on the streets, they're going to hear us. They will not have a choice. They will have to do what we are asking them to do. And the only reason that the police are able to employ as much force as they do is because there's not enough numbers on the street. So I want to ask you guys on the ground, please be of good courage, be courageous, be strong, be brave, fight for your country, stand up, be counted. Nobody is coming to save us. Absolutely nobody is coming to save us. We have to be the ones that save our country, save Gen Alpha and all the little kids that are getting born. It has to be our responsibility. So I want to say that I am, rooting for everybody. I'm supporting as much as I can, pushing the tags, sending money to people that are mobilizing. Any support that myself and people in diaspora can give, we are ready to give. We are also praying for you, praying for your courage, praying that you have conviction of heart, praying that your love for our country gets, it grows exponentially so that we are able to come together, stand united, and fight for our country. Viva comrades. Thank you so much, Marge. Thank you, Hillary. I cede the mic.
Thanks so much, Jelani, for such an empowering speech there. And anytime Jelani speaks, it makes sense. Some people tend to accuse her to be manufacturing anger, which is very, very powerful. I didn't even know that she's a wizard or a witch and can do things that, are beyond beyond human capabilities. So thanks for the good work.
Umesema minyoo.
Umesema tutoe minyoo. Kesho tutashanga. Kesho atamletea jina ingine. I'm so sorry. Okay. Daktari Mkawasi, please pick the mic. I've read your message. I think you're having technical issues. And I see Gerotich also online. I've sent you the mic. But Daktari, if you're not able to, just probably leave the space and come back again, because you say you were on the standby. Yes, you've been there, but we're not seeing you on the mic. Or Hillary, can you? Makori, Karibu Sana. And Henry and everyone.
Yeah, I'm trying to give the mic, even Each and Kwasi.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so as we wait for them, let's have the next speaker, Anthony, and then Zalendo and the juror. And please, guys, let's try to wrap it up. Yeah.
Thank you, Hillary. Thank you, Marge. Thank you, Miguna, and all Ndegwa, the Wakili, and all other speakers. Let's march on Nane Nane because we know the country is full of corruption. Let's march against impunity. Let us march against a non-functional public service. And everything that we know is ill in this country or is going wrong in terms of employment and everything else, education. But I want to provoke our thoughts in one way. We are angry at bad leadership. But let me tell you, anger is good on the short term. Hope is good for the long term. It's the high time we start telling Kenyans, we are not only marching because we say there's corruption, but this is the alternative we have. When we talk about education and how expensive it has become, this is the finance model we want. When we talk about a collapsing public service, this is the kind of public service we want. So that Kenyans now have something to counter, to weigh, to measure. Because so far people are asking, and I'll be very honest, what are you marching for now? And it's the high time now we start giving Kenyans hope that we are not only in these streets because of everything that is bad, but we are in the same streets because we have everything that is good. Toy market got burned down last week. On my space, I'm actively from tomorrow. We started last week raising funds to rebuild toy market because that is the hope we need to sell to those people. That if we were campaigning, all leaders would be here. So when we go there to take our roofing sheets, to take our building posts, we will tell them, we are not here because we want elective positions. We are here to remind you that since they were not here on this day, when that day comes, remind them that when it rained, they never came. That is what we need to start selling in equal measure. Hope. 1 million people will turn up for hope. It is the biggest currency in the world. Let's start telling people this is what, when we say Ruto must go, this is what we want. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Dr. Rasi, you're raising your hand. Do you
Yeah.
want to?
Yes, Maj, I wanted to quickly respond to, I think it's Anthony.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Anthony has not been listening, and probably that's because he has not been attending our spaces. Anthony, the problem is not what you are identifying it to be. The problem is the state. We are not going to step in for the state. We need to have a state that takes care of its citizens. Fundraising is not a function of citizens. Citizens pay tax. And for that tax, they are supposed to get all the services, including the rebuilding of the toy market. You don't have to rebuild it. We have to get away from this culture of trying to do charity work when we pay taxes. The government is supposed to rebuild the toy market. We are not supposed to do that for them because we already pay taxes. And it is a demand we have to make unapologetically. And it is something we must get, even if it means by force, because the country belongs to us. Let us not join this culture of rubbish and mediocrity, of saying that we are going to try to replicate what we are trying to replace. We are not going to come there to speak the same language as they are doing. We are not there to try to make it look like a public service occupying those.
All right.
Can you get Daktari on to finalize his statement?
Yeah.
And let's share the link to alert guys that we are back, and probably then just try to.
Yeah. So, yep, everybody's coming back. Okay, Maj, go ahead. I'm trying to send you. Okay.
Okay, I got it. I got it. I hope it's gonna reflect now. Yes. And
Yes, I can
so,
see. They can see it. I see Mkawasi is here. I don't know if
Yes,
she
let's,
go
yeah,
first as we wait for Daktari to come and finish.
yes. And I see Dr. is also already in. Dr. Mkawasi, go on as we bring on board Dr. Miguna. Yes.
I've added Daktari Miguna is here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened.
No, it's not your fault, Dr. Hillary dropped.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hello, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear you.
Mkawasi, we can hear you. I don't know if Maj, we let Daktari finish and then Mkawasi
Anyone
can.
around?
yeah.
I
Could
guess
I
he still
finish,
can't be
please?
heard.
Yes, please do. Please do. Let me
Yeah,
text
I'm
her.
going to do it quickly. Let us not pretend like the citizens are a charity. Let us
Unmute.
not confuse.
This thing is not working.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear
yeah,
you.
We can hear you
Hillary,
loud and
please
clear.
text Mkawasi and
yeah,
tell
yeah.
her that we can hear her. Okay.
Okay.
Dr.
Hello?
Miguna, go on.
Okay. So I said we need to overhaul the system and replace it. We are not going to continue with the same system that has failed. The entire architecture of the state, the entire structural integrity of the colonial state, the entire neo-colonial institutions were not designed to provide services for Africans and to serve us. And they have failed irredeemably, irretrievably. And Ruto is nothing but an example of that irredeemable, irretrievable failure. And my point is, there is no need saying, oh, we have not given hope for the country. When I say this, that is hope. That is the kind of hope the country wants. They want to see something radical. They want to see something structurally different so that qualitatively what they're going to
I don't know
have.
where I reached. I think I went on mute.
Mkwasi, I've texted you. Check your text. Go ahead, Doctor. I think Mkwasi has a.
So that what we are going to have is going to be something Kenyans have not seen before. That's much more meaningful hope than this choreographed Cornish or hope that, and with all due respect, Anthony was speaking about. These stopgap measures that we have had before, that yes, my children cannot pay tuition, I go to my neighbors to raise funds. This has to come to a stop. We pay taxes. We should not be begging for services and infrastructure and all manner of goods that are supposed to go to the people, including healthy food, healthy environment, healthy, high quality infrastructure, education, universal health care. All the things that you associate with development, we must have it through a new state. That's the point I wanted to make. And this is a point we must make consistently so that the people who are oriented to the failed state, we reset their thinking. They have to, what Ngugi called, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, professor, decolonize their minds so that they start thinking from an organic intellectual base. Thank you.
Thank
Daktari,
you so
maybe a
much.
question from the comment section. Something that you've spoken about before, but I think it will be better if it comes from you. One of the listeners was asking, they were asking Daktari, one question. If Ruto falls, then what? Nane Nane comes, but I see no plan or objective or end goals other than Ruto must go. Are we not burning the house to light cigarettes? Vacuums are never an ideal situation.
So Kingsman, I will answer again very briefly. We have been through that already. We said Ruto is going with the entire regime. So Rigabe goes, the opposition goes, all the neo-colonial mascots, the puppets must go. The institutions that were set up against the people would have to be restructured. Now, before that is done, there must be a transitional system or authority for a brief period of 90 days. My suggestion, and this can be improved and should be improved by others, is that we have the Chief Justice preside over or chair that that transitional team. The team would have to represent the 50 or 52 ethnic communities. Each community should contribute one person so that we are inclusive and we represent the face of Kenya. It has to be gender balanced. It must be balanced by generation. So when we have Generation Zote, there will be representatives from Gen Zs, millennials, Generation X, and all only progressive, transformative thinkers. These people sit in what the Afghanis call Loya Jirga, a big tent, and come up with an IBC. We will select an IBC that will preside over fresh elections. We will set up, we will get rid of all the colonial laws and enact pro-people laws. And we will set up fresh institutions imbued with values of integrity so that the civil service is not there to serve an individual. There will be no picture of anybody sitting in government offices or private houses or offices because the person is president. So that the only thing we will have a picture of is the Constitution of Kenya. That is the only thing we will swear loyalty to, and the Republic, and whoever worships the Almighty God. Those are the only totems of authority that we will recognize. Anything else, the mortals will be equal and will only emerge to positions of leadership based on their ability, based on their creativity, based on their innovation, based on their resourcefulness and integrity. Full stop. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Let's go to Dr. Mkawasi.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope I'm finally on.
Yes, and we can hear you.
Thank you. Sorry for interrupting, Dr. Miguna. So I'll just speak really briefly on weaponizing Article 28. I know it's something I keep on hammering on, but I do believe at the core of it is a weapon we need, because they'll always come up, this question will always come up. What are you guys still protesting about? What are you still fighting for? So let us always tell them that at the core of this revolution is a struggle to institutionalize the regard for every Kenyan life. Just as the Constitution promises, if we can memorize this, then we have a talking point we can keep repeating over and over again, that every person has inherent dignity and the right to have that dignity respected and protected. That is what the Constitution says. That is what we always need to keep hammering. And I'm going to say something here. So it's one thing to fight a good fight. Eventually we will. Eventually we will win and succeed in fighting corruption. We'll remove all that. But it is also another thing to institutionalize the sanctity of every Kenyan life, which is at the core of why we are where we are anyway in the first place. The latter is a matter of the Constitution. It's a constitutional obligation and what we owe each other as Kenyan people. We just owe each other that loyalty of protecting each other's lives. Let me explain. So we're not asking people to learn how to feel compassionate if they don't know how to do so, or to be genuinely kind to fellow Kenyans if they're just born mean. We know we have a lot of mean politicians, and you just can't force somebody to be that way. But we are asking every Kenyan to act with compassion and fairness, because that is what our collective consciousness as Kenyan demands. We call this 2010 Constitution the People's Constitution. So that's our collective consciousness right there. If the president is incapable of being compassionate, shauri yake. But what he must practice and what we must demand he practices as a matter of legal obligation is treating every Kenyan as if their life matters. So that is why we have to keep on hammering that every missing Kenyan, every Kenyan that has been killed, every Kenyan that has been incarcerated has to be remembered. Their names have to be brought up all the time. So even if somebody, these politicians in their hearts, they don't care, let's just remind them that they have a constitutional obligation to uphold every person's dignity. So if you see a politician giving 2 million shillings in a village, Harambe, tell them they're practicing indignity by keeping the people on the level of beggars. Having the largest number of millionaires in your country doesn't mean that you have the highest level of human dignity. This is something we keep on doing all the time. You know, because I grew up in the Moi era where people would say, oh, we have this number of rich people. Our member of parliament was made a minister. So-and-so has a mansion. And we would hook on our dignity to those kind of riches. There is nowhere in the world where you have billionaires whose dignity or whose human worth is transferred to other people. I mean, you can look at two of the richest states here in the US, California and New York. They have the biggest number of billionaires, and they have the most number of homeless people. And what I'm trying to say is we have to get to the level where our human dignity and demanding it is at the core of Nane Nane and going on to us until we reach the end of this journey. So we need a country that works for everybody. And we also need a country that at the core of it respects every human being. I know there's a sister that I was listening to who spoke about being disregarded because of our grades, how we perform in school. And that is entrenched in dignity in Kenya. Every year you see people waiting to see to see what the kids got in their exams. And you see kids who have failed actually committing suicide. And that's the feeling of worthlessness that has been inculcated in our politics, in our economics, in everything. And at the core of it, every time somebody asks, why are you out in the streets? Why are you still protesting? Why don't you give these guys an opportunity? Tell them, I am not going to relent until I know for sure every human dignity, every one of us, every human life in Kenya is entrenched, and everybody knows that I matter. So while we are fighting to entrench political and economic culture, where leaders provide the infrastructure and the opportunities for everyone to excel, we are also fighting to make sure that our lives matter. I hope that we're going out in Nane Nane, knowing that we're not just speaking for Kenyans, but knowing that the world is watching us. There are journalists everywhere. Right now, there are articles, a whole lot of them, by American journalists, and I'm sure Europe and all over the place. They're watching you guys. So it's not just a home thing. It's not just a local thing. You guys have given a lot of hope to people who know for sure the economic global system as it is right now is not working for people. It's not working in California. It's not working in New York. It's not working in Europe. It's not working in Asian countries. They're watching you. And we want to encourage you. We want to, no matter how far we are as Kenyans, just know that we have families all over in Kenya. Wherever we are, we have them there. And we know that their dignity matters, their lives matter, and we're there with you. So me and my friends, we have connections. We're doing everything we can. Thank you so much for giving us all the rundown, all the what's going down on the local level. You guys keep it up. Thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for keeping up that good fight. Thank you so much, Marge, and over to you.
Thanks so much, Dr. Mkawasi. Always inspiring, and I always enjoy listening to you. Thanks for really motivating and also informing. Hillary, as we close, what's the direction? Because we wanted to close in 15 minutes. Sorry, at 15 past, but that's only 3 minutes into it. I think we're going to just end in 30 minutes. And you're not going to add other speakers. Darko, you agree?
That's fine. That's fine. But we have time. So the speaker, we give them a mic. They give their mind. Then
okay.
we close
so
it
2
up.
minutes
Right.
each. We go by Master, Mfalme, De Jure, Lamek, and James, and then Biril, and then we close. Master. Okay, Mfalme. de jure. Okay, Master, take a go.
Master, your mic is go ahead. Master.
Okay, we're not going to call people 3 times. You're really tired. I'm sorry. So guys, so Mfalme, then okay, Master, then take a go.
Can you hear
Last
me?
minute, yes, yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Hillary and Maj, for this opportunity, and Dr. Miguna. And once I want to contribute mine, is short, is about the cabinet secretaries, cabinet vetting. And I think as Kenyans, we have faced a lot, and this government has been going and criticizing us as Kenyans. Because whenever you see how the cabinet has been vetted, this is not the right way how a politician can vet a politician for another for to be given a chance to work for another for a different post. And when you see Kenyan is full of corruption over the county project, like when you see like Oparanya has a corruption history over the county project of worth millions of money. And according to how they have been vetted, that's not adding up in Kenyans to all Kenyans. And this system was set up in a way that it automatically guarantees only corruption and corrupted. I think Dr. Miguna is right and has been standing with us so that we can achieve our dreams. And what I want to say that in date 8, Nane Nane, we are marching. Hakuna kitu ati tunaenda kuogopa. We are Kenyans and we are going to counterattack the government because the government has been failing us. Whenever they implement anything, it doesn't even work. We need to counterattack this government. When you see the legislature, it's not even working. We have lawyers, we have advocates, but the system is not working because of this person who is the head, who is the hero. But we Kenyans, we are the hero. We are fighting for our freedom. We are fighting for our diplomacy. And when the diplomacy ends, war begin. And this is our war. This is our fight as a Kenyans. And we need to fight for our country. We need to fight for the next generation, which is coming.
Yes.
Generation Alpha. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Falme, de jure, and Lamek, 2 minutes each.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Go on.
Yeah, thank you. So, as this protest began, we are not going to relent it until all is done. Once we get this guy, he will strategize and he will ruin us all. Okay. Me, I have 3 points to put across. When I joined this space, I had someone talking about funds and about funds. So my question is, who is channeling the funds? That's my first question. And my second question is, how are the funds reaching the local people in the reserves? And my third question about funds is, who has the funds? And the funds we are talking about, we are going on Nane Nane, we are going to demonstrate. All of us, we are going to demonstrate. And my second point is about togetherness. So I've been active in Iraris space. I've been active in Ruki base. So like we have the pioneers. Why can't we form one? Just become one. Yeah. And we get that strategy to conquer this man. And my third point is about the pioneers mobilizing people in the rural areas. Like I come from Nyamira. Personally, I come from Nyamira County, and I haven't seen anyone here who is coming from Nyamira County. So I'm also a Gen Z from Nyamira County. But how are those people getting this information? Because most of them can afford smartphones, yes, but most of them they cannot know when the space is on, yeah, like that. So why can't we get those pioneers from every county, that when we have the stronghold up there, the communication will be easy. Yeah, those are my points.
Yeah.
And thank you. Maja, please, 5 seconds.
Okie dokie.
So
Yeah.
like I cannot speak about the just 5 seconds. I cannot speak about the cabinet mean of reshuffling. We meant dissolve. We cannot continue talking about those things. We are going to the street to demonstrate. As I said, Daddy, we cannot prevent diarrhea by stitching the harness. That's my point. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Lamek. I just want to reassure you that I think two previous spaces, we had a lot of people joining in from Nyamira and Kisii County and that. But yes, we'll just ensure we get that information to the ground. You're very right. De jure, and then Mfalme.
Yes, thank you, Marge. Thank you, everybody, for hosting the space. Thank you for all the members present today. And special thanks to Dr. Miguna. And also I take this opportunity to apologize to Dr. Miguna. I might have crossed him in our previous engagements. But now I can see clearly what he was advocating for. He was actually ahead of time. Now, my appeal today goes to the instruments of violence, those who are listening. I would like you to remember one of your comrades who blew his hands with one of those grenades while trying to hurl it at the protesters. When it came to his medication, the politicians he protects were not there. Then I want to remind you also of the gentleman, one of your colleagues, who either fired or one of his colleagues at Parliament fired at one of his relatives, I think a brother, and he sobbed and he talked about resigning. So I want to remind you that you, the police or the intelligence, who have sworn oath to protect this country, the moment you start protecting crooks in the name of politicians, you have deviated from the oath you took. And I want also to remind you that they look down upon you the same way they look down upon us. They only use you as their tools. But at the end of the day, when your children are sick, when your children cannot afford university education, when your relatives are broke, when they start coming for the farms, when they start asking your parents to pay licenses to herd their cattle, you will also be affected. So my appeal to you is to think and understand and realize that there's no glory in harming unarmed, innocent youths whose only crime is to stand up and demand for what is rightfully theirs constitutionally. So my appeal to you is in your conscience. And my question is, how do you sleep when bodies are ending up in the morgues? Bodies are...
Did we lose
Did
him?
you try to land? Did you try to land because of time?
I can't even hear him. Yeah.
Can we give the mic to the next speaker, please, Mark?
Be real, please take on. Be real, can you hear me?
Beryl is not in the mic.
Okay,
Beryl is on the
then
listener.
let's finalize. Dr. Mcoure, I see your closing remarks. Then Dr. Miguna closing remarks as we close. The jury, we lost you. Yeah.
You lost me? Am I clear?
Yes, but then kindly then land in a minute. We lost you. We couldn't hear you, but now you're clear. Please land. Yeah.
So my last statement is, we are all ants in one container, and it is the politician, the rogue politician, who is rattling this container, so that you, the instruments that are meant to protect us, can harm us. So as you rest today, put that back at the back of your conscience. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dejir, for very, very important information and message out there. But God bless you. Dr. Mkawasi, over to you.
Thank you, Marge. I'd like to say that I know that we are going to get there. That is not in doubt. I know the road is not going to be easy, but we must create a network where we have each other's backs, where we can have a safe place for everybody to take a rest if you need to take a rest, or to hide if you need to hide, to raise people on a platform who need their time to be raised on a platform. Let us create this network, reach out, and we're reaching out as well from where we are. We will get there, absolutely no doubt about it. You guys are a shining example. I keep repeating this again. The world is watching, and we're not going to drop this baton. We're going to run it for all of 200 and something countries, because this is our time. You young people have started this, have sparked what other people have always been fighting for. So keep it up, keep on. When you get tired, reach out so you can recharge. Go on there and shine in Nane Nane. We're with you. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana, Daktari. Over to you, Daktari Miguna. The
Oh.
general. I can't end the speech without calling you the general. Over to you, general, as you finish.
Maj, thank you very much. I'm very happy today. I think that everyone who spoke, from Advocate Ndegwa to Dr. Makawasi to everybody, including the hosts, we have made very brilliant contributions, focused, and now is the time for us to mobilize and organize. It has to be done. We have to each spend an hour or so every day to mobilize at least 10 people. It's not that difficult. We all have friends, we have relatives, we have colleagues, we have neighbors, we have strangers who can speak with us. Let us do it physically and virtually every single day until August 8th. And let's show Ruto that Kenya belongs to all of us. I wish all of us good health. I wish all of us a brilliant future. I wish all of us safety, and I wish all of us success. Let us make this a distinguishing feature of a Kenyan, a patriotic revolutionary Kenya. Viva!
Thank you so much, Daktari. Kingsman, close, and then I will just take 30 seconds, and Hillary will finally close.
I think mine, just to emphasize on why people should be on the street, and everyone has contributed to the cause. Much has been said. It's, I think, time for us now to walk the talk. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
Thanks, Kingsman. I also do not have much to say. We've already talked so much. I just want to highlight, to check on the Jumbotron, and also my highlight, we're having next week, we're going to talk about, the JKIA scandal. Those are one of the reasons that are, taking people also to the streets, because there are really wrong things happening. So do be on the lookout for that. We're having it on a Wednesday before the Nane Nane. Wish you all the best, and we'll be here in case of anything. Anyone missing, take your cameras with you. Stay within the laws. Don't be afraid. It's a constitutional right. And in case something is happening, do share it with us. Tag us. You're going to amplify and get help your way. Hillary?
Oh, thank you so much, Maj, Kingsman, Dr. Kwasi, Dr. Miguna Miguna, always. We are here every Sunday, and today we are very sorry that the space dropped. There was technicalities. We are trying our best, but we are very sorry about that. And thank you so much, guys, for joining. Every Sunday we're here. On Wednesday, Maj just said we're gonna talk about GK. Join that, and also you can follow the link is up there, and also keep in touch all the time, keep it safe all the time. Let us be safe on Nane Nane as much as we can, but let us be on numbers, as Dr. usually say. Be on numbers, don't be alone. If you're alone and they find you in a bad state, then it might be something else, but when you're in a group, then you are safe as much as we can. So let us keep safe and let us be focused on our agenda. Thank you so much, guys. See you again on Wednesday and Sunday.